Hello, it's 6:45 a.m. on the 30th of January 2025. I'm on the website coolmathgames.com. I'm looking for a game of backgammon, so that will be under classic, I think, and then board. And then scroll down a bit, and it should be here somewhere. There it is, backgammon. Okay, now wait for the obligatory ad to load. I'll just scroll that up so I don't have to watch it. Watch this countdown and go to 0. 4, 2, 1, 0. Oh, hang on. Don't want to do that. There it goes. Right, one player. And then play, I think that's it. Okay. Right, so the objective is to move all your pieces around the board into here. Any time you've got 2 more pieces on a peg, that's blocked, which means that no one can land actually on that peg, apart from yourself. If there's one single peg, token, whatever it is on the peg, then it's vulnerable to attack. When you roll your 2 dice, if this, for instance, would not be 7, it'd be a 6 and a 1. So you'd have to be able to move a 1 piece or 6 and then 1 piece 1. It can be the same piece, but you can't just do 7. You have to do a 6 and a 1. And if you get a double, you get 4 of that instance. Oh, it's playing sounds as well. 6 and a 4. I hope. Okay. 6 and 4 is really good. Anything with 2 in the difference of, because then I can do something like this. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 2 are 2 apart, so I can go ahead and do that, and then do that, and then 5 and a 2. Okay, this will be a 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I can't move that back. I move 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can move that 2. I'll go move this from here, and then do this. Right, so that person's vulnerable. So if I wanted to, if I can get a 6 and a 2, or a 3 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something that's similar, then by landing on that, he's going to go, or they, whatever, you've got to be that nowadays, got to go all the way down to the beginning, and then they've got to start that piece from the beginning. So I hope I get that just to show an example. 4 and a 3, that's 7, so 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's not going to work. But let me think, what else can I do here? 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do something stupid. I'm actually going to make myself vulnerable here. So now I'm vulnerable from here, but they'll have to take a long thingy to move that far, and also they had a 1. They could have landed on this and sent me home if they wanted to. 4 and a 1. I can go ahead and land on this guy now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can do this. I can do that. Now, they can, in fact, can I turn that noise off? Or do, yes I can. And go back. There we go. Now when they come in, anything that's got 2 or more in it's blocked. So in that case, if they're rolling in, they can come in a 1, a 3, or a 4, not a 2, a 5, or a 6. Okay, it's nice and quiet now. 6 and a 2, that's me. So if I wanted to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'll do this. And blocking them. Now, this isn't obligatory. You don't have to keep landing on pieces if they're vulnerable, because what can happen, that means that they can't come. They had a 5 and a 6, so these are 2 blocked, so they can't come in. So that guy stays there. And this rail, as in any piece here, that's kind of the base the piece goes to if it's caught. That has to be cleared. So that has to come in before they can move any other piece. So that basically shuts them down, as it were. Okay, so 5 and a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to move this guy out. 4 to 1. There we go. So he's covered his pieces, so there's nothing vulnerable. Oh, I've got 6s now. So a 6 is from there to there. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 6. I can move that there. 1, 2. I can't move that there because that's blocking. So I'm kind of stuck with what I can do. So I'll go ahead and move that. No, I won't. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move these 3. Yeah, I'm just going to move these 3 because the further away an open piece is from the enemy pieces, the less likely they are to land on you. So for instance, if I move that to here, then all they need is a 6 and they can land on me. So doing this is kind of stupid because I've got nothing. There you go, 6 and a 4, so they just landed on me with a 4. But it's so good. I can do this. Doink. Got 2. I can bring that in a 2. What else can I do? 1, 2. 1, 2. Move that, and then move that. So I can come into 1 and a 3. They're in the 3. They're in the 5. 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't move that. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go ahead and move that out. Like that. Again, you get 4. A double gives you 4 of that number. If you get a 1, they can land on me. Oh, which they didn't. You see, they didn't choose to do that because the more that you land at this stage of the game, when you're trying to get all your pieces into your home base, if you keep just landing on your enemies, then you can have a whole wall of them here. But then it leaves them vulnerable because when you're rolling off, because once you've got all your pieces in this place here, then the numbers roll off on the peg. So if you roll a 1 and a 5, you take 1 off here, and then 1 off here. And then if you leave them vulnerable and they can still roll in, they can land on you, and you've got to start away from the beginning. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's not advantageous to land on open pieces. 6 and a 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a 1. I can't do that because a 1. And then a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can bring that in. But then that's vulnerable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. I'll go ahead and just move this guy. Get him out of the way. Okay, 4 and a 2. Right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some kind of 7 that gives me a 3 and a 4 maybe. Okay, 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't move that out all, so I'm kind of stuck. So I'll do that. 1, 2, and then move this one to here. That's all I can do. Now, a good thing at this part of the game is if you roll numbers and you take them off the pegs. So if I roll a 5 and a 1, I can take 1 off 1 and 1 off 5. But for instance, I'll go ahead and move this back there. You see where 6 is open. If I roll a 6, then I can't take anything off the 6. So what you do is you take off the next highest number. So the more of these pegs you have on lower numbers. So if I can get all these up to here, then it's, when I roll a number, the probability is higher that I can actually move, take the piece off. Now, another thing that they've done, they have this whole wall here. So basically, I'm stuck. I can come in on a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 and a 3 are the only things I can move that piece with. 6 and a 1, so I can move them with the 6. And then what I'll do is I'll move this one. There you go. So they landed on me now. So if I get a 3, then they're kind of stuck. They're not. So I get a 4 and 6, but I've landed on that guy there. So they can come on a 3 and a 6. They didn't get either of those, so they can't move. Right now, 5 and a 5. And so I can go 5. And I can move 5. I can move 5 because that's a 5 peg. Now I'm taking them off. And then one more 5. There you go. 3 and a 6. They can't do it. Hang on, so it's my go again. 4 and a 1. Now I can take one off the 1, but then that leaves the one vulnerable. And then one off the 5, that leaves that off the 4, sorry. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that to 1 and then that to 4, because you don't have to take them off if you don't want to. You can just move them. That's why if they come in, then they're not going to land on me. 3 and a 1, so I've got nothing on 3, so I'm going to remove the 1 off the 1. And then the only option I can do is if I've got things higher than the 3, I can't just take it off the 2 because I've got things higher. I'm obligated to move whatever above the number is. So I'll do this after. That's the only thing I can do is move that 3. Okay. Then 5 and a 1. So I'm going to take 1 off the 5, off the 1, sorry. Now there's nothing on the 5 peg. So then what you do is you move to the next highest, which is the 4 peg. So I can just move off that. And again, it's not like I can move the 4 and then I've got 1 left. Just by moving something of that dice, or taking off from that roll number, whatever, kind of holds me to whatever it is. So 3, 1, 2, 3. I've got nothing here, so the only thing I can do is move that 3. And then move that 3, but then there's nothing on 3, so I just go to the next highest, which is the 2, and then take off. Okay, there we go. 3 and a 1, so I'll take 1 off the 1, 1 off the 3. Now there's some rules, some variations of this where I forget which way it is. You have to move the highest number first and then the lowest number. So you move the highest number first or something. If you can't do that, then you're thinking that. I don't do that anyway. So 5 and a 4. I haven't got nothing on that. So the next highest is the 2s. Okay, 6 and a 1. Hopefully I get a double. I don't. So nothing on the 6, nothing on the 3, so move the next highest, and then I'm out on the next roll, the 6 and 1, and you get points by rolling off. You win. If you roll off, but they have all the pieces home, but they haven't taken any pieces off, that's a higher score. If you roll your pieces off and they have some pieces still live, as in this part of the board, you get higher score. And if you roll off and they have pieces in the center thing, like you landed on them, you haven't brought them in again, that's a higher score. Yep, that end on a double 2. So there we go. That's how you play a backgammon. Not saying I'm any good or anything. Right, let's have another go. This time I won't talk about the game because I wanted to kind of have this as a backdrop. So yesterday I forced myself out of bed and I did a bunch of stuff. I'm in agony. The doctor says I've got chronic pain syndrome, which isn't fun, and it sounds like it's made up, but it's not. And it's imagine television static. And or tinnitus, but it's pain. That's basically what it is. It's horrendous. It's just pain all the time, and it means that you can't sleep. It means that you can't concentrate. I feel like an NPC. There we go. And so anyway, and it's crazy because you have. Let me think here. I'll just do that anyway. You just want to lay on bed all day because that's when it hurts the least. But okay. But okay, 1 second. What's the word? I've forgotten what I was talking about. But by doing that, you as well as you being in pain, then you get another kind of pain, which is atrophy, where your body just hang on. Your body just don't feel too good. Because you've got the pain that's from the chronic pain syndrome. You've got the pain then from the body not being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to work. So just move this in, I think. Hang on. 2 and then 3. Oh, hang on, I did that already. You got the pain from the chronic pain syndrome, but then because the body is 1, 2, 3, I'll do that, which is stupid. I know it's not. I do that, and then I can block that with that one there, and then I can do that twice, so I'm not leaving anything vulnerable. They're going to come in the 2 and the 4. Looks they couldn't. Ha ha ha. Again, I can't remember stuff. Okay, so what we're doing here. Pain, it wasn't it? Okay, oh yeah, well, so I got up and did stuff. And so what I do? A bunch of stuff. I got up. I'd laundered my quilt. And it's a heavy thing, so I the cover got all tangled up in the laundry, so I separated them, and but it was just too heavy, and so I said, so I'll bugger this. So I actually, mild victory. I put the cover on the quilt, so that was all cool, and then got up, and then I've got these 2 bookshelves that I set up in my room, and so I've got nothing on the 4, so I can either move something off the 5 or something off the 6, and move something off the 6. Yep, so I looked through my cameras, and I found a bunch that I've forgotten. I've got a 40D, which is a Canon digital that just does stills. I've got a one of the 2, one of the 1. I've got 2 Canon D70s, I think they are, which are video and still, and then a Canon D700, I think it is, which is, from what I understand, the lower the number, the higher the bells and whistles. So one of the 6, one of the 5. And so the 7D has more bells and whistles than 70D, but they're basically the same processor, the same look about them, and that kind of stuff. So one of the 6, and then move the 2 here. So if I get a 4, 5, or 6, then I'll just take off there. And then so it's really cool, because something I want to do is I want to once I got downstairs tidied up, I'm going to I want to set my cameras up, 3 cameras up, like a television interview style, or news or whatever program, you know what I mean, with the 3 cameras. And then I found a Panasonic as well, which is a dedicated high definition video camera. It's not 4K. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it really doesn't matter the quality of the machine, it's what you do with it. So you can have something, because I've watched films, right, that are spending hundreds of thousands of millions on all this equipment. People can't act, the script sucks, the blocking sucks, it's terrible, the whole everything. And so card games, let's see what I can do here. I think there's one called 21, not 21, was the other one? Where are we? Hearts. I think I've got the idea of how that works, and it's doing a commercial, so just roll out of the way. And yep, and then you have somebody who's got like a, just a generic camera, and they're spending thousands in budget, but it rocks. There's one that I saw, I think it's called Cold Meat, and there was no effects and CGI and that kind of stuff. It was this guy, it's snowing, this guy goes into a little diner, and he's he's talking to the waitress and they're having a good time, and then her ex-boyfriend comes, and her husband, and he's a bully and a drunk, and he's like threatening her, and then the guy that's the other guest, whatever, he's like, hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? Stop doing that. And then the bully comes up to intimidate him, but the guy, the guest, doesn't get intimidated, and so the bully's like, whatever, and leaves. And then the next thing is the guy's driving in the snow, through the snow, and he goes to get some petrol, and there's a police officer there, and they chat and blah blah blah, and then but he drives off, it's all nice and whatever, and then the bully guy, the ex-husband, he kind of follows him, and he drives a tow truck, and he's kind of intimidating him, and so the guest from the diner, manages to get ahead, pulls off down a side street, turns his lights off, and then the tow truck drives past. But then he's driving through, and the snow's getting really heavy, and he crashes. And then he gets out of the car and opens the boot or the trunk, whatever, and there's the waitress tied up. And so it looks like he's some kind of whatever. And that was the beginning of it. And then the rest of the film was set inside the car. And that was it. But it was amazing. You were riveted all the way through the film. Where there's this other ones where it's set at a college, and you got people driving brand new trucks and the drone footage and all this kind of stuff. And I couldn't even watch it for 10 minutes. It was just, this is terrible, and that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter. Something somebody told me is it's all down to audio. You can have a really, really bad camera, but as long as you have fantastic audio, it makes it artistic. Can I turn the clicky thing and tools? There we go. And then 3 cards to pass. So I'm going to do Hearts of points and the Queen of Spades of points. So you're trying to not win tricks in case they throw them in, because then I'll get rid of... No, I'll just get rid of the king. Now, do that. They give you some... Okay, there we go. Cool. Right now, let's have the 2 of clubs gets the beginning card. I can get rid of my high card here. So hearts have started. So King of Hearts is the highest. Ace of Hearts is actually the highest. So hang on. Oh, diamonds. I see. Diamonds is the... If you don't have whatever they lead with, then you can play with any card you want to. And again, the idea is to get rid of all your hearts. So I'm going to get rid of my highest diamond. And now leading with clubs, so I get rid of my only club, which means now I can play any card I want to. So I'm going to get rid of the... 2, 3 jacks, so I get rid of my hearts. Clubs, get rid of my hearts, highest heart. And get rid of my 5 and I'm done. Nope, there we go. And then Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Spades, that's also a points card. I think it's worth 15, so I'm going to play my 2. There you go, good stuff. Now diamonds again, 7. So what can I go? 6 is the lowest I can do not to get penalised. And 9, and then diamonds again, 9. I can play me 8. And then, I was talking about something. What was I talking about? I don't remember. Get rid of 5. Hearts. Get rid of that. I think after this I'll go to the... Let's get rid of my highest card in total. Clubs, highest thingy, whatever. And then there we go. Boom. Yay, I got no points. Right, let's go back to YouTube then. Maybe me playing games is distracting. And now what I do is Daffodils as I spell it. And then no, I think it was this one that I was playing before. Oh, tweet. There we go. So where was I? You see, I can't hold a conversation because it's bouncing around all over the place. So I don't remember what it was. I know the reason I started this was because I'm in pain. I'm in agony. Anyway, so I got up. I took over-the-counter ibuprofen. I took 4 of those, and I took 2 high-potency Tylenols again over the counter. And cup of coffee, instant coffee, but I use a lot of the coffee. And then that didn't get me going, so then I had a cup of tea. So I forced myself, and then one of the things I've got into the habit of doing is when I wake up is I open the laptop, and so that kind of mongs me, makes me into a zombie, as it were. And so I end up not doing anything. And because it hurts, everything hurts, and when I move it hurts even more. So that's where the chronic pain syndrome comes in. And then the added thing to that is by not doing anything, become more atrophying more, which adds another level of pain. And then after the incident, I was in the hospital, and when I got out, I got the atrophy pain, the chronic pain syndrome. Now I've got arthritic pain. And I didn't have any of this before I was in hospital. So whatever they did to me is whatever they did to me. But then again, whatever, it's just life. I just got to bear with it. Then I've got to push and fight it. That's basically what I've got to do. So, close the laptop and said, screw it. And now I've gained this thing. I didn't used to be like this, but I've been in the customer service business for a long time. And that kind of chips at your yourself if you let it. And so... because you can't say, no, sir, you're a douche. You got to say, yes, sir, I am an arsehole. And like, for instance, there's one time I was working in a restaurant that closed at 10 o'clock in the evening. At 5 to 10, and I'm not kidding, 5 minutes to 10, the phone rings. And I was waiting tables there, and the manager looked at me, and she had like a deer in headlights eyes. And she kind of, called me over, as with a finger, waved me over, and I came up, and she's like, this guy called, and he wants to come in. And I was like, and most restaurants, what they do is if they say they're open till 10, they are open till 10. So if you get through the door at 1 minute to 10, you're going to get served. But by this time, the restaurant had been dead since about like 8. It was during the week, or Tuesday, I think it was. And so the kitchen was basically closed. And the owner wasn't there, so we couldn't say whatever. And, she didn't know what to do. Tell them to go, we'd say we're closed. And then maybe the owner would say, why the hell did you, that was a table of, it was going to be a table of 5. Blah, blah, money, reputation, da. And so she was like, well, we close at 10. And the guy said, oh, I'll be there. And so he stepped through the door about 2 minutes to 10. I'm not joking. And it's like, and then they, kind of funny, the head chef in the kitchen. It was only a small restaurant, so head chef, and then two, maybe three other sous chefs, and then a dishwasher. And but they did like French cuisine, so it's like very, and all the dishes were done from scratch, so very labor intensive. But you heard the F bomb loudly from the kitchen, and everyone heard it, including the guest. When the guy came and said, "I'm here," because the kitchen was closed down, so the chefs basically said we're on a limited menu, and so he said, "Yeah, my other four friends are going to turn up," and that wasn't for another 20 minutes, but because he stepped through the door before 10 o'clock, and the guy was, with nothing we could do, and so it was belligerent. And so the friends all arrived, and they were all in shock. He was a drunk, ignorant, whatever. And what had happened? They'd been kicked out of a previous restaurant because he was loud and obnoxious. But I couldn't tell him, "You're loud and obnoxious." Just yes sir, no sir, 3x4 sir. And I said, "Would you like a bottle of wine?" And he goes, "Yes, I'd like a bottle of wine." And I wanted to smack the cow. And why was he a cow? I don't know. But I couldn't, and that's what happened with the service industry. This dude I was talking about, if I do something myself, if I'm going to do it myself, and again, the system picked up, I didn't. It used to be like because you put yourself last, then I changed my mind. I'll do it tomorrow. Whereas I do this all the project, I've got to get them. So this friend I know from Vegas has this like improv, a music improv thing. I don't music, I don't know about sales and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm just totally self-taught. And you put finger on places and play that's interesting. So I've been there for years. And so that's what we like. Goes, I'll do it. Okay. And also circling laptop. That's good. This lead. It's like you see me laptop from the laptop off. I'd hit Zeus and I'd be to work in schools for I get trouble. So sometimes maybe pull up on the other side of the room. Which one is off? I'm forced out there. Go to the other side of the room. Which since then I have a laptop off. And so I do this laptop on the table. It's doing everything in the recovery. And then before I know it, they never pass out much videos. So what I do is put my laptop in the room or some way else. Just pass slightly. What was I going to do? So taking pills, taking a cup of tea and stuff. So I said to myself, I've got this quilt that I bought when my dad visited from the homeland, and I'm into kind of natural stuff. I like cotton and wools and stuff like that. I'm not too keen on nylons and polyester and what have you. I mean, a blend, okay, well and good, but like a polyester blend, but if it's majoritarily cotton, okay, well and good. But if it's just something that's nylon or some kind of artificial polymer, I don't like the feeling of it. So this quilt was the only thing I could get that wasn't, $250 million. And I built my dad a bed, and the only thing I could find. It's nice, but it's too warm. It doesn't breathe, so it's like sleeping in a plastic bag, basically. And so that's been kicking around. And I'm trying to minimalise because I've got too much stuff. And so I've got a bunch of stuff, a few days ago. I dug through one of the boxes. I've got tons of boxes to go through. I'm not a hoarder. It's just I was going to move to New Mexico, and so I started packing up all my stuff and putting it in a storage unit. So then, when I was ready to go, when I got enough money, what have you, then I could get a U-Haul and just empty the storage unit into the back of the trailer and be gone. But that kind of fell through for reasons, and then something I can't understand. The storage space, what they'll do is it started off $35 a month. Okay, cool. And then they kept putting it up. Now, okay, so up to maybe pushing it at $100 a month. It was a 10 by 10 by 10 foot unit. Okay, I can. No. But they got it up to about $400 and something. I was paying more than somebody would have been expecting rent, and before rent was $2 million a day, and it was like, dude, what am I doing? And the things that if you own a storage unit, the only way you make money is by having people keep stuff on your premises. That's it. So if you have logic would say, okay, if I've got somebody who is going to be leaving stuff at my facility for a couple of few years, the longer they keep the stuff at my facility, the less work I've got. I don't have to clean out the unit. I don't have to, put it out, advertise it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's easy money. So what I would do, you'd think logically, is long-term guests you would give bonuses to. So you'd say, okay, you've been here for a year. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll drop your rate by 10%. Oh, thank you so much. And then the person's more likely to say, well, I was going to move my stuff out of it, but they've just given me a discount, so I'll do that. But they don't. Every month they were putting the rent up. So it started off being $35, introductory free, but then they got it up to about, $400, almost $500 a month. And it's like, that's a crazy amount of money. So I thought to myself, well, I've got this house, I might as well use that as a storage unit. So I emptied the storage unit and then dumped everything into my living room, and then the incident happened, which put me in hospital. So when I came back, I've got all this stuff to move, and now I'm weak. I can't even lift a 10-pound dumbbell, and I was lifting 25-pound dumbbells without even thinking about it. And I wasn't muscular or anything like that. It's just, I didn't, it was like, oh, okay. And now I can't even do 10 pounds. It's crazy. So yeah, and so where was it going with that? You see, there we go. So boxes. Oh yeah, there we go. So it's not that I'm a hoarder or anything like that. It's just all my stuff's packed, and then I realised I got too much stuff. And instead of, I want to get mobile again, and instead of having to put all the stuff that I've acquired into the back of a van, and most of it I don't even know what it is, I'll go through and get rid of stuff that I don't need back to the quilt. And so, it's nice. It's nice quality. I got a nice quality one again, but it's not, something I'd never use. So I put that downstairs again. I went through the boxing I was talking about of old clothes and stuff like that, and put those into a laundry bag that I'm going to launder and then take to a homeless shelter. And so they can use those and give it to somebody who actually needs it. And so yeah, so I said, okay, so I made list. So I'll do that, get all that stuff and put it in my car. I haven't got any money, so it's near the end of the month. So hopefully I'll get another long-term disability check, because I can't work and it's terrible, and I can't think straight. Sometimes I'll talk and it's as if when you see the TV program and the movie where the person's in the class, the students in the class, and they start looking out the window, and because the teacher's boring them. That's me with myself. I'll be talking to somebody, having a conversation with somebody, and then my inner self will look out my inner window, and but I'll keep talking, and then I'll come back and I go like, oh my god, I'm still talking. It's scary. It really is. It's like and it's not like a disassociation of of reality or anything like that. So it's not as if I'm kind of schizophrenic. I hope not. Anyway, it's just something that happened. It's crazy. When I was in the hospital at the incident, and as again before, nothing, and none of this. But after the incident, blah blah blah, all this crap. God, where was I going? And there you go. So I know I was talking about a blanket, but again, what's the word? Not simile, whatever it's, blah blah blah, analogy, whatever, like comparison, a metaphor, I think, something, I don't know what it is anymore. Is the inner kid, like we having a conversation, it'll look out the window and I keep talking, then come back and, oh my god, I'm still talking. Another thing, it's as if it just gets bored. So I'll be talking about something and it's like, dude, I've had enough. And I remember I was talking about the blanket, and again, you know what blanket? Oh, it's the blanket. It was the one that I got from my dad when he came over to pay me a visit. But why was I talking about that? I don't remember. And it's something to do with boxes that got out of the storage unit. Something about not working because I'm on disability now. I know that says getting up yesterday. And why am I doing this now? Because I'm in pain. There we go. So, well, I'm in pain because I did a lot. Because again, so okay, I laid in bed. Don't want to be in bed anymore because it just makes it worse. It doesn't get any better. So I did stuff anyway, and what did I do yesterday? I went to that guitar thing, right? Okay, there we go. So if I'm doing something because somebody's asked me to do it, I will bend over backwards. But if it's something that I tell myself to do, then I can put it off. So the whole thing was I have to go to this improv thing. Now, I play guitar. I'm not very good. Never said I was. I'm totally self-taught. I can't read music. If I'm learning a new chord, I've got to see the dots on the picture of the neck of the guitar and then copy that. I don't play lead, blah blah blah. I don't know scales and that kind of stuff. If it sounds nice together, then that's what I'm going to play. I don't play other people's stuff. Accidentally, I come across stuff, and again with this, all the stuff that happened after the incident. One thing, I'm trying to learn other people's stuff, like I'm playing Wonderwall, or trying to anyway, by Oasis, which is actually pretty hard to do. Really, it's not just verse for verse, chorus, verse for verse, chorus, middle eight, verse for verse, chorus, as like a normal song would be. It's kind of like it's like three sections, and they're not necessarily associated with each other. And so I learned that, and I could play it, and now I've forgotten the words. I tried to play it the other day, and it's like, hang on, where are the words and the chords? But it's scary. It really is. Now I was going with that. Playing Oasis. The coffee shop improv thing. So somebody off Facebook said, hey, last Wednesday of every month we do this thing, where we get together improv. Do you want to come over? So I said, okay. And I used to live in the town that the event was staged, and it was, and I used to live there, and I used to own a house there. But after that, I go, no, go away! I don't want to do this. Don't do this. So go away. There we go. Right, I'll do that for a while. I hate commercials, and they ruined YouTube. When Googly said, hey, everyone that's making videos and keeping us in business for absolutely cost to us, do you want to make extra money? And I was like, no, don't do that. And because then suddenly you're playing by their rules, and that's exactly what it is now. And there's so many bloody rules, it's unbelievable. There we go, back again. Oh, God, where was I? Coffee shop. Improv. That's it, the town. I used to live in that town. And then I used to have a house, but then the housing market crashed, and they tricked me into getting a foreclosure. And so I lost that house. Then I had to move. And the thing is, what it was there was a town, really, really nice, but people had bought it, big corporations had bought it, and they tried to make it into Lower East Side of Manhattan. And it's like, dude, this is the Midwest. You can't bloody do that. And suburbia Midwest, well, he did it anyway, so everything's facade. Everything got expensive, and it was just like street after street of restaurants, and there was no soul. They pushed everyone out that had a soul, that put a soul into the place, so it just became a corporate facade, glossy corporate facade. It's disgusting. And so a lot of people left, and it got too expensive to live there. And so they moved to a closer town, or a town that was nearest, rather. And a similar thing happened. And so people couldn't afford to live there. So it's a case of you can move, north-ish, just a little bit to the next town. But that was very kind of crime-based. And so you're like, we don't want to go there. Either that or go south a bit to the town that I lived in. But the thing is, there's no kind of infrastructure. It was just like pockets of stuff. It was off the freeway, so there wasn't any, town centre-y kind of feel about it like the other places had. And so people were like, oh no, so no, this is exactly what's going to happen. People got priced out of the first town, then they moved to the second town. They got priced out of that. They can't go north because that's basically a war zone no-go area. So they're going to go south, and this is exactly where they're going to be. Oh no, they're not. There's no town centre, and that's exactly what happened. And so again, I had to move out somewhere into a place that's more industrial. It's up by the like factories and blah blah, what have you. And so it's kind of rough around the edges. But then I went back because this coffee shop is like 3 blocks away from the house I used to own, and I even visited the house and that I had. It's like, oh wow, they've done a really good job, and it's it's become a really, really nice area. And the thing is, I think what they're doing is not being loud about it like the other places. Hey, look, this is a great place to go. They're being more kind of coy. So instead of like huge restaurants opening up, they're opening little coffee shops and little eclectic little trinket shops and that kind of stuff to kind of minimalise, keep the soul vulnerable. You know what I mean? So the corporates aren't going to turn around and go, look, another soul, let's grab hold of that and turn it into a fashion statement. Yep, so I went up to this coffee shop. It was really, really nice. And, but no, okay, what did I do after that? So that was the goal. And so I found my PV practice amp and then took that down and put it in the boot of the car. And then I'd restrung the previous night. Previous day rather, I'd gone to Guitar Centre, and I think I mentioned this already, and got some strings. I got 3 sets of strings, 2 acoustics and an electric. And then I restrung the Breedlove semi-acoustic, and it sounded amazing. And so I put that in the car, and then I found, digging through my cupboards and stuff, I found the red guitar. It's an Abilene. Never heard of this. It's like a Stratocaster looking thing. And what happened is I went to get some petrol after work one day, and the guy behind the counter said, hey, do you want a guitar? I was like, I don't even know who this guy is. It's like, and then there was this poor little red guitar sat there. And it was like, save me, please. And it was like beaten up. And basically what happened is they'd evicted somebody from one of the properties, and the guitar had been left there. And they said to the guy in the attraction, hey, you left your guitar. I said, I don't want it. And it basically sat in the basement, and it got like a mouldy and a little bit rusty and stuff. So I took her home, and still needs a little work into it. The pickup switch crackles, and one of the tone switches for the bottom pickup it feels like it's broken. When you move it, it doesn't. When you move it to its extreme, it doesn't stop. It kind of keeps moving. So there's something loose inside there, and the pickups have kind of got a little bit of touch of rust on it and stuff, and stuff. So anyway, so I unstrung her. And I'm suddenly turned into a guitar, because it's my bloody guitar. I can do what I want to. And so cleaned her up as much as I could, restrung it, and played her a bit. She sounded gorgeous. Put her in the car as well. So I've got to get a case for her as well, because I didn't have a case for her, but I had a case for the Breedlove. And then that's all set for the going off to the improv night. And also the quilt, I think I mentioned my dad's quilt that I got him when he paid me a visit. Put that in the car as well. The bag of clothes that I'm going to give to the homeless shelter, I put that in there because when I get money next week, if I get money next week, I'm going to go to the laundry and get that washed and take them to a homeless shelter. So that's all set. And then I got this clothes rack, because what had happened is, for inspiration from a friend of mine, what they do is when they wash the clothes, they put everything on a coat hanger, t-shirts, shirts, the whole ball game. And then because their thought is, if you get your clothes out of the dryer and then hang them up on a coat hanger, then all the creases fall out. Now, if you fold them up and put them in a drawer, and then when you take them out, you suddenly got all these creases in them from when you folded them. And so I, where my washing and dryer is in the basement, I put like a banister or stair rail or whatever I don't know what they call it in this country, but the thing that you hold on to when you're climbing stairs. I got one of those and tied it to the beams, and used that as a clothes hanging thingy. And then when I got back after the incident, I pulled all the clothes from that I'd hung up. They were in the basement now, and then pulled them up to the first of all in the living room where I got myself a clothing rack, and that's where they were there. And I wanted to bring those upstairs because I want to bring everything upstairs. I'm going to sneeze. I want to bring everything upstairs and empty downstairs so I can gut downstairs. And because one thing, when I was in the hospital, the guy across the street had inherited house from his parents who'd passed away, and he was a bit of a ne'er-do-well, so he didn't look after the place, and he had like sticker after sticker from the city saying, "Hey dude, this place is uninhabitable." And so he had rats basically. And then when I was in the hospital, he was kicked out, and the company bought the house and renovated it and then put it up for rent. And because I was in the hospital for 4-6 months, something like that, and so then the rats wanted somewhere to move to, and it's like, oh, that house across the street's vacant. So when I got home, opened the door, the huge stench of rat piss. And it was disheartening, honestly. Everything been chewed up. There's rat poo all over on my kitchen counter, in my kitchen cupboards, and all that kind of stuff. It was disgusting, and it's disheartening. And it's like I'm not any, whatever. You're trying to think of something anal cleaner person, whatever you want to call it, and but I'm not filthy. And I was proud of my house. And I bought the house as a foreclosure, and fixed it up myself and brought it up to code. I had it inspected and everything. And the people were, you have about 4 or 5 people. You have the electrics and the plumbing and the HVAC and then the garden and that kind of stuff. You have these 5 or 6 people that check on your house to make sure everything's all cool. And they're like, dude, you've done more work, because I used to manage a youth hostel hotel thingy, and so I learned about codes and stuff. And I brought it up to they actually found it amusing. He said, "Do you ever work in a hotel before?" I said, "Well, yeah." And he said, "Yeah, well, you basically brought this house up to hotel code, not residential code. So you've gone a little bit too far." Which I found proud. But yeah, I did all this myself, basically. I had a... You have to get, as far as the electric and HVAC is concerned, you have to have got a licensed contractor to do it. So I got that done, but everything else you can do yourself. So this was my castle. And suddenly it's all gutted. I've got to throw out all the carpets, perfectly fantastic carpets. They're covered in fleas and rat piss, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I've got to throw them out, and that's kind of the fashion now, is natural wooden floor. So that helps. And what was I doing this? There you go. So quilt. So I've got my dad's quilt in the back of the car, and the laundry for the homeless shelter. My 2 guitars, my amplifier. So that's all set. Then, as I'd previously, my Canon cameras, I've got them in separate bags. I brought them into my bedroom, and I'd emptied a bookshelf that I'm putting all the cameras on, just so I want to organise stuff so I know what I've got, because that's one thing at the moment. I've got boxes all over the place, and I don't know half of the stuff that I've got, so I want to get rid of the stuff that that's just sentimental, and if I'm putting stuff on shelves, on bookshelves, every time I look at it, it's like, look, this is what I've got, as opposed to being in a box. It's like, it's a box. And there could be a cat in there with some poison. You never know. And is it alive? Is it dead? I don't know. And then Panasonic camera. And I found my old Panasonic camera as well. It's the same family. It's an AG-DVX 100B, I think it is. And it's a Panasonic camera. Now, what happened was, when things were going digital as opposed to film, the manufacturers were using a processing chip. So very much like an old TV, a CRT TV, which basically uses red, green, and blue, and like lasers for guns or whatever you want to call it, that are shooting on the screen very, very quickly, and then the combinations of that would give you the colours that you see. Digital was doing something similar, but using digital information as opposed to light that way, whatever, blah. And so the old video cameras were using one chip, and then Panasonic, I think they were the first that actually came with the idea of, why don't we use 3 chips? And that they came up with the 3CCD, and I forgot what the CCD stands for, but it would be one chip that handles red, one handles green, one handles blue, and so it would it's a precursor to high definition and 4K and that kind of crap. And it was like, instead of having one chip handling everything, you had 3 different chips, each one handling a different color. So you had a deeper color, more kind of saturation, blah blah blah. And so they came out with the AG series, and it was great because you could shoot 30p, 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second, but also 24 frames a second. Now, 24 frames a second was standard for film, and so it gave you that kind of film look. And it's not the look, as in the visual look, it's the how motion is interpreted. But I won't go further than that, blah, blah, blah. So, and I went to a media school because I wanted to get away in tables. It was too much. And so I've always wanted to get into doing stuff creative, like video and photography and all that kind of stuff. And so I went to like one of the intensive media schools and did a course, radio video art. So they taught me how to run a radio station, as in like be a DJ and mixing desk and that kind of stuff, and then how to run a news studio, and how to do remote like news stories and what have you. And then the one that I wanted to do was the film, which is how to set up a film. And so it's all crash course. It was like 8 months to do all that. And the first couple of months You do the radio, then the video, then the film, and then it's up to you which one do you want, which avenue do you want to walk down. So I went down the film, and they used the Panasonic AGV DVX100As, and so I thought, well, if I'm going to be doing this, I might as well get one for myself. So I bought the Panasonic AEG DVX100B, which is the it's slightly better. It's the only thing that was available, and it filmed on mini DV tape, so it's like a little about the size of a small thing. I can't even think what's that size. An Altoids tin, maybe a little bit thinner, but something along that size. And yep. And then when I got I did that, and then back to waiting tables because it was a bit of a con. It's like, oh, we've got this fantastic work placement. No, it doesn't. It just gives you here's a newspaper with adverts in it. What, sorry? And it's meant for kids just leaving school. And it was kind of really a segue into more higher end colleges and universities. But I just wanted to get into the business, and Blow. Oh, cat just dug its nails into me. And so I did that, and then I was waiting tables somewhere, and one of the guests was a guy, and he ran a tier 2 advertising house. So it made that the late night I want to sell cars commercials. And so I kind of said, can I work for you? He said, no. I said, I'll do it for free. Oh, okay. So I worked for him, and he was pretty impressed with my enthusiasm and stuff. And then he said to me, yeah, nice camera. I brought the camera in. He says, but it's not HD. He said, really, you've got to get an HD camera because that's where it's going. And so I'd got used to the Panasonic. I liked what it did. I liked the steps to take, and as in like hang on, with the 3-chip setups and the 24p. So then I moved to the AG HMC. AG's the series, HMC. And the way I remember it is high movie camera, I think it is. HMC or HVC, I forget. I don't fucking care. 1500. And this was a solid state video camera that records on SD chips. What is your problem? My cat stood at me at the moment, but he's getting closer, so his paws are standing on my chin. There you go. Thank you so much. He heard me, so he's walking away. He just basically wants feeding. I just fed him about 20 minutes ago. He's an eater. So I bought that camera. Now, there was a couple of options. There was one that filmed on I forgot what chip it was, on a card, a big chunky card, but it was a PS card, I think it was. But that's kind of a flash in the pan. And they're expensive, and they were clumsy. The stories of footage being lost and that kind of stuff. It was a kind of innovation. So I thought, don't want to do that. So I went for the one that recorded on the SD card. I still have it, and it's fantastic. It's great. It's wonderful. So always a going cameras shelves. Like I'm looking now at the cameras now. So got and I'm not like rich or anything. It's just once in a while I got, so I'll look on eBay. Oh yeah, the 70D is an old Canon camera, and it shoots stills, but it also shoots video, and it's not 4K, and I think it's maybe just HD or something. It's years old. They're about like $200-300 now, something like that. But they're really, really good. The quality of the video is really, really good. So I got a 70D or 700D, whatever it was. I got the same. It's identical, but it's a budget version. And I was like, oh, and I thought it was going to be the same because I've had Canon since I went digital, and so the format's kind of stayed the same, but the budget stuff, instead of like wheels, you've got buttons, and so you've got like less control, and so I was, oh, whatever. And so then through my whatever, I kept that one, and then I bought the, better. I bought the 70Ds, which are the better ones, and they have the same format as
I had with the 40D, which is just a stills camera. And so got those, and again digging around in boxes and stuff, I found out I've actually got three. I've got one of the low quality ones, Gooseberry nose, and again it's the same sensor, it's the same setup, it's just less bells and whistles on the capability of the camera itself. So if you use both cameras and film with them, they'll look identical. It's just what you can actually, your parameters you can mess around with. As in if you're doing, like, if you're taking stills and you want to do multiple shots, the cheaper one, it will give you a less amount of shots in a batch than so you get my drift. So again, I've forgotten how many I had of those, and I found out of both varieties, I've got 3 of them, which means I can now, once I've got my living room tidied up and emptied and reset, I can set that up as a mini studio, like an interview studio. I want to do that because I'm not from this country, and with that, it gives me a curiosity about what makes people tick. And so one thing I want to do is bring people over and have them. I've got a spare room, or I want to get it all cleaned up and what have you like that, put it and so they'll have somewhere to crash, so they can come round, so it's not as if they have to leave, make it more relaxed and stuff like that, and shoot videos and see what happens. And I'll have the 3 Canons set up, and then as close-ups, mid-shots and close-ups, and then I'll have the Panasonic as a full shot, or whatever to call it, and then and I use the Panasonic for it's got an XLR input for the microphone. I've got a boom mic, maybe get a couple more of those as well too, so I've got more audio capabilities, and I can have my own little show going on, which is going to be cool. So that's my ambition. But again, I've now got these 3 Canon cameras, and digging through boxes, it's like, hang on, I've got 3 of them now, and it's like, wow. And I've got about 7 different lenses, which is nice. And I've got the Panasonic. I've still got the cassette one I was talking about, and I've got the high definition one as well. Anyway, so I kind of got that all sorted out. And then my dad's quilt, I took that downstairs, and I had the clothes that where did I get them from? Anyway, I've got some clothes put in a bag and other blankets and stuff. I'm going to launder those and give them to a homeless shelter. And my dad's quilt as well, so that's all in the car. And the guitars are in the car, and the amplifier's in the guitar. In the car, sorry. And then, so what else? So I had a cup of coffee, some pain pills, I had a cup of tea. I'd moved stuff around. I was still in agony. It was still hurting and stuff like that. And then I went to the gym. And did I do something before I went to the gym? I just went straight to the gym, didn't I? Did I? I think so. Huh. Anyway, so I went to the gym and I worked out. And one of the guys that was working there, he'd had back surgery and stuff like that. When I first went to the gym, basically after the hospital, they put me in a recovery centre and I couldn't move. I mean, my entire body had atrophied. I had absolutely no. And before I went into the hospital, I could walk and stuff. I went in with sepsis, which is some kind of blood poisoning, and the funny thing is like about a year later, I got sepsis again, and they took me to the same hospital. I was in and out within about 5 days. So I don't know what they did the previous time, but I was in there for about 4 or 5 months, and it was identical. And so I don't know what it was running through the minds, but it's really weird. It was really weird. It's like when my sister, she tried to track me down. They knew what hospital I got taken to, but when they called her up, we don't know what you're talking about. We don't know this guy. And it wasn't until she threatened to call the police, it was like, oh, you mean that guy? And the whole thing was scary. And I don't know what they had me on, but the whole thing was like, it was weird. It was like I didn't know if I was dreaming or if it was real. And it was very, very scary. And it's like they had me thinking they were going to kill me, and because I'd uncovered something. And it sounds stupid in retrospect, but it's at the time I was like, they doped me up on something. They were having fun at my expense. And it's like, and one of the male nurses came to me and he was like, you ruined everything. And I said, what are you talking about? You know what you're talking about, what I'm talking about. I said, no idea. So we know where your neighbour lives. April, and May or June or whatever month it was. And we know where your neighbour lives. And we can kill her, And it's like, wow. And then they wanted to take me to get an MRI. And they took me into the basement. The MRI, it was all covered in sheets and stuff, like plastic sheets and what have you. And then one of the nurses said, how many IVs do we give him? 5 or 7. And I've had MRIs before. They don't give you IVs. And from what I remember, and the nurse said, I don't know, I've never done this before. May I give him 7? And so they thought they were going to fill me up full of chemicals and kill me. And so, it was scary. The whole thing was effing scary. And as I say, the first time I was there for 6 months, and by the time they finished, again, I was able to walk around and stuff. I just got back from my sister's birthday. I'd driven to her place, and then I'd driven back, and I was capable and stuff. I wasn't feeling too good. That was the sepsis kicking in. And but as I said, the second time I was out within about 4 or 5 days, and the first time, they turned me into a bag of jelly. And and then they put me in a recovery centre, and again I was a bag of jelly. They put me on this stuff called Norco, which is like an opioid, and I found out that opioids, they block the pain, but what they do is they mess with your receptors and stuff, so they make you exceedingly sensitive. So if somebody, and this actually happened, if you blow on your skin, it's like somebody pouring hot water on it, and it pain sensitivity out the bloody window. Maybe that's why I've got chronic pain syndrome now. That's what the doctor thinks anyway. But you'd have thought it had gone away. It's been like a year now, more than a year, maybe 2 years. I've forgotten. Time's fleeting. And so God, in the gym, wasn't I? I was talking to so when I got home, I was in a wheelchair, and then I was like, bugger this. So I joined a gym, and I joined one of those 24-hour gyms, so I suppose I can go anytime I want to. But it ended up being a 24 hours apart from the weekends, and it closed at 10, so it kind of defeats the object. But further away, there's a gym that's not as well equipped, that's open 24/7, so I've got that as an option. And so I started wheeling myself over there and doing exercising to get myself done. And I went from that to on a walker, and now, although I've got the wheelchair and the walker in the car, if I need it, I still, I'll reach my walker and say, bollocks. And then, although it hurts to move, agonizingly so, I'm forcing myself to, get the strength back in my body. I've got no core strength. Again, as I say, I can't even lift a 10-pound dumbbell anymore, never mind a 25-pound dumbbell, and that's what I've got. That's what I used to use before the incident. And I've got no strength in my legs. Climbing a set of stairs at the gym, I've got to use both the banisters, and halfway up I've got to take a break for about 5 minutes to get my breath back. It's crazy, and it's like, it's not as if I'm losing my breath. It's like I can't breathe. When I try and breathe in, I'm not pulling seemingly I'm not pulling in enough air to so I'm like, trying to do that to get more air in, whatever. Anyway, so yesterday, I went to the gym. Oh yeah, I chat with him. Oh, yeah, blah blah blah. I haven't seen you for a long time. And because I haven't left my house for about 3 weeks, and again I've got to stop doing that. So, and he said he's leaving, and he's getting a job as a fire alarm installer. And I had a friend of mine actually work for the guy for a bit, and he did fire inspection. He went where I lived was a coastal town. There's a lot of bed and breakfasts, and so he made sure that they were up to code. because you have integrated fire alarms, which is instead of like the fire alarms that you just screw to your ceiling and they go off, each one of these is connected. So if one fire alarm goes off from one room, it triggers all the alarms in the entire building. And that's what you do for hotels and the like. And so, and the checking things like the fire extinguishers, making sure they've been up to code, and they're still pressurized. All that kind of bell by saying, oh wow, I don't know if it's the same over here, but where I come from, if you start off installing this stuff because you get the knowledge, you can become a fire inspector, and it's an easy job, and you get a bunch of pay for it. And they was like, oh, that's interesting, chatted and blah 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 blah. That's really cool. But he's leaving, and he had back surgery, so he saw me from when I first came in from the wheelchair to the walker to now me staggering around with a angry pain expression on my face, and he was like, oh, okay, whatever. And that's the thing about pain. I remember when I was in hospital and they got me doped me up on morphine. There was no pain, so everything was crystal clear. And pain makes you doubt yourself, and it makes you what the hell? Okay, so I was talking about the gym. Okay, so my inner self is now staring at the window with the arms crossed and the pouting. Okay, blanket for my dad. I've already talked about that. That's in the car now with the guitars and the amplifier. And I've gone to the gym. Exercising. So I don't know what they call it. It's like a stationary bicycle, but instead of your pedals going around, it's like you like flaps. You're pushing your feet like say like a duck. It moves their feet kind of scenario. Elliptical or something, sitting down elliptical maybe something. So I did that. I got up to about 10.5 minutes. Usually I do 50 minutes or half an hour. I got about 10 minutes and I just couldn't, and then I went to bench pressing, and okay, whatever. The bar itself says it weighs 25 pounds. It even says on the machine, and I saw these videos like, oh, here's to the people that think that the bar weighs 25 pounds, and then they, and the whatever blah, but it even says, you take into consideration the bar weighs 25 pounds, so that must mean something. And it's it's not like it's not as if it doesn't weigh anything. So if you want to be pedantic, I put £10 weights on, two 10-pound weights, so that's £20. So okay, bench press £20, or £45 if you take into consideration the weight of the bar. So take it as you want. So I did that, and usually I do 6 sets of like 20 or thereabouts, and I think I did about 3 or 4 sets of 20, or I think it was 12. I did 25 first, and then 2 sets of 12, or 3 sets of 12, whatever. Did that. One thing that I did before once, I used to work in a chocolate factory, and one of the things you do is you pick up 55-pound bags of chocolate beans, actually chocolate coins, I forgot, pellets or whatever like that, and then you dump them into a vat, and the vat is kind of above your head. It's basically your forehead is level to the top of the vat. And so that I built my shoulders up doing that, and actually what I was doing with the bench pressing machine, because it's not just like, it's one of those where it's got like the bar isn't just like free, it's actually in the mechanism, so it stops it from just dropping, or tilting from side to side. So what I did before is I'd move the bench, stand up, and then put the bar all the way down to the floor, and then lift it above my head, and then because I'm trying to get I remember that I built up my shoulders from the chocolate factory from doing that, from lifting above my head, and also I need to stretch my body because that's something else. As well as your body atrophying, or your muscles get tense. So I can't even touch my toes now. Even standing up, the down my back, down my legs, agony. It hurts because everything's all tensing up. Because muscles naturally want to do that. That's what they do. Is like when you say, bending your elbow. What's happening is the tendons in the front of your arm are getting tighter, right? And that's what's bringing everything forward. And then when you're moving it back, it's that all the tendons and muscles on the outside are getting tighter. That's basically what it is. It's not like getting tighter and then expanding. No, it's just getting tighter. And so that's what your body does naturally. If you don't fight, this is just my thought from the experiences that I'm going through. If you don't fight, keep stretching and stuff like that, what happens is your tendons and muscles get tighter. And so when you then, if in a state where like I've been in now, in now, when we're trying to do pick something off the floor, it's effing agony, man, because or everything wants to stretch, so it keeps stretching. It wants to get tighter. If I'm not stretching, it just gets tighter and tighter. That's where I am at the moment. And where was I going with that? Okay, blanket in the car, guitars in the car, amplifier in the car. I'm at the gym, aren't I? Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you for remembering that. So lifting the, okay. So as well as getting the strength by lifting the bar above my head and taking it to the floor. By taking it to the floor, I'm forcing myself to stretch, and so that's what I do, get my stretching done. But I didn't do that this time because I haven't been to the gym for kind of about a month now, so I don't have the kind of oomph that I did before. So then went upstairs, and then there's a machine that you basically sit in, lock your legs, lock your arms, and then with your hands you're pushing a bar, and the bar is attached to a weight, so you're basically doing sit-ups. And I had that on £70, and I did 4 sets of that, I think it was. I think 20 each, that's pretty good. And then there's another thing where you kneel on a like a bench, like a little square thingy, and then you set like a weight before you do that. And then you reach above your head, and then you can do pull-ups, but it's the weight counteracts your natural weight, so you're not pulling up your entire body, you're pulling up what you want to do. So I did that for a bit, which is really cool. And then again, one thing I want to do is sit-ups, but they've got no they have sit-up machines, but they're angled at 45 degrees, and so I tried that once. I couldn't even get on the bloody thing, and so I wanted something more flat, and I did find they had one of the benches from downstairs from the bench pressing machines upstairs. So I kind of pulled that up to a thingy. I had a bar going across my ankle height. I sat on it with my legs bent, put my feet underneath the thingy against the wall at ankle height, and then did partial sit-ups. So basically doing a sit-up, instead of laying down flat, you're laying down flat but your knees are bent. And so I did that, and did that only a few times, but my body and mind was like, this is starting to hurt too much, I've had enough, so I stopped doing that. But that's a good thing, because I did it. It was easier than I thought I could actually do it. And I didn't stop because I couldn't do more. I stopped because the pain was just getting too much. And then I was on the way out, and the guy that's getting a new job with the fire alarm installation people gave me his email address. And because I mentioned that I'm writing a book, I've got to get back onto that again. And it's about my life. And it was... I've got it set up a few times, a few areas. A major event happened when I was 14 years old. A major event happened from birth to when I was 14 years old. And then a major event happened when I was 15. And then a major event happened when I was 27. Ooh, what are these major events? I don't really know. I'll tell you. So, yeah. And so I want to write the book about it. And so That's again something, and I've got to do it because if you have, and it's kind of weird, you have to do stuff, and as long as it's morally nice and you're not effing up other things, then go ahead and do it. If it's dangerous, damaging, illegal, immoral, that kind of stuff, that's when blah blah blah. And so just basically, I want to go out and cut the tails off cats and then throw children into wells and that kind of stuff. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things like writing books and wanting to learn how to draw and that kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And something as well, it's like, I can't draw. Anyone can draw. You just got to learn. It's like, remember when you were a kid, when you taught how to write. When you first wrote, you just scribbled. And then later on, you learned about, capital letters and lowercase letters and nouns and adjectives, verbs, adverbs, that kind of stuff, however it goes and blah, 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 sentence construction, punctuation, all that kind of stuff. And so now you can write yourself a letter or a story or whatever, blah, 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 but then you couldn't. It's the same with drawing. If you don't pick up a pencil and a piece of paper and draw your little stick figure or your smiley face, whatever like that, of course it's going to look like crap, but the more you practice, the more you learn. It's the same with anything. So, and that's the thing, is it's very, especially when you're a child, if you see somebody, drawing the Mona Lisa, as it were, you think they were born with that skill. You don't realise that they've learned. And if you look through their notebooks from like years past, you go, oh my God, this guy used to suck. And yeah, so if you want to do stuff, do it. Don't get disheartened. Don't get disheartened by failing. Enjoy the failure. Like Bob Ross, it's not a failure, it's a happy accident. And that's what it is. If you that's, okay, why do you think people draw with pencils? Because you can rub stuff out. So if you make a mistake, you can rub it out. And I forgot who it was. I'm going to say Picasso, but I'm probably wrong. But I was reading stuff about this artist, and what they do is they put the pencil to the paper, and then they just keep drawing lines, or they keep scribbling, whatever like that, and then they get the shapes out of that, and leave the scribbles there, because that was kind of the structure. It's like the laughter lines on an old person's face or something similar. That's what gave it character, and that's what it's about. It's like, don't put yourself down, you know what I mean? Realise that doing something crap is necessary on the journey to do stuff great. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't just get a bicycle and get on it ride. You get on the bicycle and you keep falling off it, and you got stabilizers and that kind of stuff. You learn how to use it, and then before you know it, you ride around BMX style, whatever, and blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's just keep at it. And it's also a lesson in controlling that voice in your head. Oh, this is crap, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And then that's the thing, you've got to say, no, yeah, I can't do it because I haven't got the practice. But I'm learning, so you shut up and let me learn. And that's what it's about. And so, I don't know where that was going. So I was at the gym, wasn't I? Oh, yeah. And then he gave me his email address because, again, I said I was writing the book. And he said, just, I think it was more of inspiration, whatever, I don't care. Again, the pain makes you doubt. So I was like, well, he's just doing it, whatever. And, when I said, hey, when I was exercising, he said it was either like, and blah, 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 interested in the book. He said, oh, well, maybe I can grab your email address, so I can give you my email address. And then, once I get inspiration to make it so I can get the book written and give you a copy of it. And then I thought, oh, God, what am I doing? Hello, almost perfect stranger here, give me your information. Oh my God, I feel like it. So when he actually came when I saw him, when I was leaving, I went to the water fountain and kind of blocked him. So, because I didn't want to put, oh, hey, I'm leaving now, kind of email address. I didn't want to be that person. And so I was pleasantly surprised. When I'm leaving, he tapped me on the shoulder, turned around and said, oh, here goes my email address. I said, thank you so much. That's nice. So that's that. And then what did I do? So I left the gym and then sat in the car. I was in fucking agony. And so I went home. Oh, God, what to do next? Oh, I'd got my clean laundry in my car. And I'd also bought some trays for the shelves to make it more organised. And I had a sandwich because when I did my laundry yesterday, a couple of days ago, all that, I went to Subway and got a sandwich. And the $5 footlong cost $12. What? Hello? $5 footlong? Oh yeah, because he said whatever, blah. And so I pulled all that in. And then again, I said to myself, I'm going to take some of the clothes that I've got hung up on the clothes rack in the living room upstairs. And so I did that. I did that twice yesterday, which was really cool. So I've only got one more journey. And that's the thing. When you don't do stuff, the not doing stuff voice takes hold, in my opinion anyway, in my case, whatever. And so it's a case of it would take 3 or 4 journeys of just grabbing a few coat hangers full of clothes and bringing them upstairs to get that job finished. But by not doing it, it's like, oh God, it's like, each a piece of clothing, it weighs the same as chainmail, and it's £550 per thingy, and I've got 2 million coat hangers to bring upstairs, and it'll so you blow everything out of proportion. It's like when you do, it's like, oh, that was easy. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep pushing yourself and doing that one little thing. And it's like when I was working in a restaurant, when a new manager came and he got overwhelmed. Oh, I've got to do payroll, and I've got to do inventory, and I've got to do this, and I've got to look at reservations, and there. And I said to him, like, you look at the big picture, aren't you? He said, yeah. It's overwhelming, isn't it? He said, yeah. He said, because it's too much. He said, yeah. He says, well, for instance, he said, that table over there, yeah, and the guests have left, yeah. He says, and he's cleaning and resetting, doesn't it? Yeah, so cleaning and resetting. Okay. And then so there you go. That's one of the jobs done. And then let's talk about inventory. Okay, so how many companies do deliveries, and what days do they do deliveries? And end up being about 5 companies, 3 turn up on one day, one on another. Said, okay, so there you go. That's been broken down. So instead of a huge inventory of 5 different companies, you've got one day every 2 weeks where this guy comes in. You've got one day where these 3 companies come at the same time, and then this other day, each week where this other guy comes in. So you've now just broken that huge, massive thing into 3 chunks. So that's basically what you're doing. And it's like, get yourself a piece of paper and a pen. Don't think of list. Do yourself a mind map, and which is basically just however you want to do it. But in the case I was telling to him, you just get yourself a big piece of paper and start writing words on it. So inventory, and then you can draw a line from inventory and go like GFS, and then tower, and then all the different companies and stuff like that. So you see that's how that's connected, and then from that you can do GFS every Thursday, and then tower every second Tuesday, and that kind of stuff. And then just make this map, and then it'll look disorganized because that's really how the brain works. And there's 2 parts. There's the logical side, which likes lists and organization. And then you've got the other side that's just random, doing stuff whenever it happens, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, and I don't know where that was going, with the T-shirts and the clothes on the hanger and stuff like that. And so that's, again, my house I've got stuff all over the place. I've pulled the carpet from upstairs. I'm upstairs is kind of my home base. I've cleaned everything up as much as possible. And again, doing something that would take somebody half an hour is taking me 3 days now because I just don't have the energy and everything's fucking agony. And I don't have any help, and so I'm having to do it myself. So my first thought is, okay, so because my bathroom is upstairs, I'll make my room into a bed sit. So I've got a mini fridge, I've got a little electric frying pan thing, and a kettle, and like a crock pot and that kind of stuff. So, and I've got 2 bookshelves set up as my pantry, and then 2 bookshelves again on top of each other where all my audio and video equipment are. and I'm in the process of organising. So, home base, ripped all the carpet out. So get rid of the rat piss and the fleas and the poo and all that kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so at least I've got kind of some home base. Disorganised because I've got so much stuff. And again, instead of just blitzkrieging getting stuff done, it's a case of like, oh my God, I've got to do this halfway through it. It's just too much. But anyway, and so again, I want to pull everything from downstairs upstairs so I can rip the downstairs carpet out. And if once I've got downstairs empty, it's going to be more simplistic because I've got a blank canvas. And then, so when I'm coming through the front door, instead of, oh my God, I've got these boxes and bags and stuff all over the place, I just come on and say, yep, I got a blank canvas, I can begin. And I'd be more encouraged and more inspired to do stuff and what have you. And then, I don't know. Yeah, and then, again, with the moving the clothes from downstairs, that kind of broke what was a huge job that was all massive into little jobs, so that's what I've got to do. So every day when I come upstairs, I'm going to bring something, even if it's an envelope. I mean, not that minimalistic, but I'm talking about it. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to bring in all these boxes and just bring in one box, bring the smallest box. Yep, and so, and there you go. Bollocks. Yep. I know I'm gonna end up at the coffee shop, but I've forgotten t-shirts. And I close the laptop. Anyway, so whatever. So my whole goal was to get to this coffee shop. And so I got the two guitars, because I didn't know what it was. So I got the semi-acoustic guitar that I'd restrung that played beautifully. And I got the electric guitar and my practice amp. And yeah, so I got there, and it started at 7 till midnight is when they said the time was. But I got there about 6-ish, and moved all my stuff in, and had a cup of Earl Grey, as you do. And then had a cup of coffee, which was cold and weak. And then I'd done the cup of coffee, 3 refills, blah. And then the guy came in, the organiser's a drummer. And he's a Facebook friend. I kind of recognised him, but I don't know where from. But we must have met because we're Facebook friends. So, but I think he either recognised me. He said, "Oh, hey, how you doing again?" And so I don't know if that's his general how he says hi to people to make it sound friendly, or if he actually recognised me. But I don't remember where he's from, so I asked him, and he kind of felt a little bit uncomfortable about that, so I didn't lead that any further. But yeah, so then people came in and started jamming, and then other people came in and played some sets, which were really nice. And oh, you have a go, like whatever. I'd never done it before, and I'm not trained. I'm totally self-trained. I've never played in bands or anything like that, so I was kind of a bit, as I explained to one guy semi-humorously, I feel like I've just been invited to a nudist colony, and I'm scared to take my underwear off. And he looked at me weird, but I thought it was funny anyway. And the coffee shop, they do like, it's not just a coffee shop and buns, they actually did a beef stroganoff, so I had a beef stroganoff, which is nice. It was really funny because he kept overcooking the noodles. So he said, oh, it'll be ready in 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, it's like, oh, it'll be ready in 10 minutes. And so it ended up being around like 2 hours. And he was kind of, and he was like, apologize. I said, don't worry about it. It's like, I like 10 minutes the last 2 hours or something similar. But yeah, that was really nice. And then, I do want to get in other people's ways because, again, it's a lot of people that knew each other. And I was a stranger. I didn't want to come in and say, hey, let me, blah, blah, blah. And then, people started to do more kind of improv-y stuff, and so it's later on the night, about like 10 o'clock-ish, so I plugged in my guitar and started following people, and I was following lead, and I don't play lead guitar. You got basically, I just play chords, and I don't know scales and stuff like that. I know they exist, and I know what, blah, blah, blah. I just play things that sound nice together. And I was like, and again, I wasn't doing like, Gwynny and Armstrong. I was just doing, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff, and finding little different patterns. But it was nice. I enjoyed it anyway. But again, the pain. When they said, "Oh, it's nice that you can hear yourself," and I took that as, instead of like, like, it's nice now you got an amplifier, you can actually hear your guitar, as opposed to, because I was playing a bit without the guitar plugged in, and so maybe they were saying it's nice that you can hear yourself now. I've got an amplifier, I can actually hear what I'm playing. But I kind of took that as like, oh, okay, so I got it so low only I could hear myself, or I played so crap that thank goodness I could only hear myself. Pain, it sucks, it really does, to this level anyway. But anyway, whatever, took it as whatever it was. I didn't make too much of an issue out of it, but I enjoyed it. It was nice, and I was actually surprised at how, for want of an expression, fluent I was. Of like, okay, and again, it's just little bits. It wasn't like, I was doing whole freaking, sets and blah blah blah. It was just like a few notes, and then playing that a few times. Then we do a chord change, finding out what the next few notes were. It was nice. It was I enjoyed it. And again, they weren't playing like complicated jazz or blah blah blah. It was like a 1 chord or a 2 chord riff, so something similar to Santana or the Doors or something like that, where it's just like 1 chord, 2 maybe 3 chord, repeating sets, that kind of stuff. It was nice. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And then, agony, getting up, and then got all my stuff back in the car. The owner of the coffee shop helped me move my stuff to my car, which I was grateful for, but Humboldt said, you don't have to do it. No, I'll do it for you. You don't have to do it. No, you do it for you, which is nice. And then came home in effing agony, and then left the guitars in the boot. And it's cold. It's freezing cold, so that's not really nice of me to do. And then, but I'd rather leave them safe in the boot of my car than smash them trying to get into the house being completely in agony. So then grabbed some t-shirts off the rack, and I've got like about 5, maybe 10 t-shirts left, and t-shirts, trousers, all the other clothes I've got. Like, I've only got like from something that was like part in the Red Sea down to something that's like oh, that's easy, so which is really good. And I brought those upstairs and fed the cat, petted the cat and stuff. I hung those up, and then I laid down. I was so much bloody agony, and I watched a bit of YouTubeage. And it was just like, oh, agony. I don't remember falling asleep, but I did. I did something, told me to eat something. The only thing I've really got readily available is ramen noodles. So I did myself a couple of ramen noodles, which isn't very good. When I was in hospital, in the recovery centre rather, I got myself a blood pressure monitor. And so I did a little experiments, and for instance, I'd feed me omelettes for breakfast, and my blood pressure wouldn't rise. But when I got some ramen noodles shipped in and had those, your blood pressure fucking flies, excuse my French. It's the carbohydrates and the sodium, but it's filling and it's satisfying to an extent. Nutritionally void, but it fills a hole. So I had a couple of noodles, putting a bit of mustard and ketchup there to just give it an added bit of flavour. Struggle food, as it were. And then when I woke up, I was in agony. And I've been talking for the last, I don't know how many hours. And don't feel as bad. But the thing is, I'm laying down, not moving. I know when I move, it'll hurt. And also, by talking, I'm taking my mind off the pain. So, a couple of things I learned is when you say, I'm going to do that tomorrow, or I'm going to do that later, what your mind can say is to put it in a separate drawer. You know what I mean? And so then it has the chance of being ignored. So I'm trying to get into the habit of instead of saying I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it, I'll do it next. How's about that? Just by saying I'll do it next makes it sound, doesn't put any extra pressure on it. It's not like I'll do it now, I'll do it in an hour, I'll do it in 20 minutes, that kind of stuff, which puts it in a, gives it a kind of sense of urgency. But I'll do it next. It doesn't mean it's the actual next thing I'll do is I'll do it next in the next time zone. And so it makes it more ambiguous or amorphic. So instead of tying it down to adverts, go away, nasty, don't want to talk to you, go away, and my computer's lagging, there we go. Instead of lagging, oh God, whatever it was. Yeah, so what am I going to do today then? Well, it's about 9 o'clock, coming to 9 o'clock now, 8:30 in the morning. It's really cold. I fed the cat, he's asleep on my bed now. Okay, what do I want to do? Okay, move the t-shirts, rest the clothes on the clothes rack upstairs, and that's that done, finished. Move the clean laundry I've got the bottom of the stairs upstairs. In the back room where, when I first got out of the hospital recovery centre, the son of my roommate at the time helped me move some boxes upstairs, but he had nothing against him. He did what I asked him to do, but it wasn't organised, so the space isn't being utilised the way it should be. So what I want to do is empty the back room, and then reorganise the boxes to give myself organisation, but more room to move the bigger stuff from downstairs. Connected to the back room, that's what I call the back room, is my bedroom. I've emptied that mostly, done some organisation, put boxes into the cubby hole. I've just got one of the side walls, stuff I'm going to pick off the floor, and things I haven't done that is because every time I bend over it, it's like somebody, it's agony, even if I'm on pain pills. And I don't have any prescription pain pills anymore because I don't have health insurance, because one of the joys of this country is if you don't work, you don't have health insurance. You've got to go on state benefit. And what Mr. President is doing now is trying to actually stop that from happening, from what I understand. Which is insane, because you pay tax, and you pay income tax, and when you look at it, income tax, you're actually paying into disability, Medicare, Medicaid, and retirement. So they're taking 25%, if not more, of your wages to go towards state benefit. But now what Mr. President's trying to do is stop that from happening, because somewhere in his mind that's not a right, it's not a plan that's being paid into by people, which it actually is. It's moochers taking his money off him. And the thing is, hello, all politicians, you know that you're getting your money from taxes, right? So basically, you're the moochers, and then all these multi-billionaires, where do you think you got your money from? You got your money from forcing people to work for you. And then creating systems, like food's free, go out into any forest, pull an apple off a tree, munch, munch, yum, yum. Find yourself some brambles, you got yourself blackberries and raspberries and stuff. Anywhere that's soil, you can plant food and eat it. It's free. But the way that the human race is decided is like, no, it belongs to someone. And then it belongs to major corporations. And it's like, for instance, if you're cold, then theoretically you can find some dead wood that's just laying there. Chop it up into pieces, make a nice little fire to make, fire pit to make sure it's safe and what have you. Set fire to the wood and suddenly you got heat. Oh, no, we can't do that. Instead, what we do is we have these nuclear reactors that create waste that cannot be got rid of. They have to be put in lead-lined concrete boxes and then buried, because they have hundreds of year decay rates. Instead of saying it's got a life, let's say, for instance, if you've got an apple it's got a life of a couple of weeks before it goes mouldy, or maybe less. This, they have to say half-life, and it's in hundreds of years. And it's radioactive. It will kill you. But, oh no, it's safe and it's clean. No, it's not. And the thing is, I'm amazed that people don't know this already, but nuclear reactors don't get magical energy. It heats water. It's exactly the same as a coal electric refinery, whatever, blah blah blah. They get radioactive rods, put them in water. The radioactive rods get hot, boils the water creates steam. The steam drives steam turbines. It's exactly the same as a coal power station. It's just a different fuel source. And yet coal, it kicks out air pollution and what have you, but it's not radioactive and it doesn't have a half-life of a couple hundred years. But yeah, that's it. So it's a case of, instead of building a fire with wood and heating making a little house for yourself and heating it up and using the fire to cook your food, you now got this wonderful electric stuff that you're tied down to using. And then water falls from the bloody sky. Oh no, you can't use that. You've got to use these pipes that have been laying around for hundreds of years. They've been collecting effluents and stuff like that. And then not only that, but the water, instead of using natural filtration and, pulling stuff out of rivers and stuff like that. Oh, because the rivers are destroyed anyway because we put pollution in them. You have to go through these basically antiquated filtration systems. And basically when you turn on your tap, instant water that's full of chlorine and fluoride and other stuff, and it's the same water that you just flushed down the toilet when you took a poop. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And then these bottled water things. When you buy a bottle of water, you're not buying a bottle of bottled water. You're buying a plastic bottle. And you're buying waste, because as soon as you finish drinking that water, you throw the bottle away. And you don't recycle plastic. I think there's one, maybe two varieties of plastic that are actually recyclable. The rest just get put... Oh, hang on. I'm sorry about this. You're not looking at the thingies. What's it? That's still playing. Yep, it is. You're looking at waste, basically. So, yeah. So the thing I'm getting at is every other animal, every other organism on this planet ekes out its own existence. It builds its own home. It keeps itself warm. It feeds itself. It keeps itself hydrated. It makes kids and brings the kids up. Whereas the human race is a case of, no, you are the property of these lazy motorfolkers that can't even do the job that they hire you to do. Get Jeff Bezos as an example to package boxes and organise the shipping stuff. He couldn't do any of that. He doesn't know. He's so far removed, he doesn't know what's going on. He just knows how to yell at people and make money out of it. Look at Musk. Get him to actually build or work on one of his cars. And they're not his cars. That's the thing. Tesla was a company, these two English guys, who they were ahead of the curve as far as using direct drive through electric motors, using regenerative recharging by using the brakes as using electric motors as brakes, because if you put a battery to an electric motor, it will drive the electric motor. If you then put load on the electric motor, it will stop the electric motor from moving. Because I've tried this with a friend of mine when I was a kid. We built this little car thing, and each of the wheels was connected directly to an electric motor. And when you attach batteries to it, it moves. And then we thought, hang on, seeing as what happens if we attach the electric motors to each other, and then what it'll do is, like, when you push it, the momentum will have the electric motors running, and then the momentum from one motor will, run the motor of another. That didn't work. It just stopped. Okay, what happens if we take a rechargeable battery, and then we have the motor connected to the rechargeable battery, and then when we push it, the the momentum will have the motor running, and then it'll create power which will charge the battery. Same thing, it didn't go anywhere. So that's where regenerative braking comes from. What it does is it if you change the function of the electric motor from being a motor to a charger, that amount of pressure, for want of a better word, will slow the motor down, and it will act as a brake. And so, and all these ideas and blah blah blah. The thing was that they didn't realize the amount of demand that the cars would have. So the cars they built were perfect. They were sports cars. They were faster than anything on the road because it was direct drive. It wasn't there wasn't any gearing, and so it was just like direct drive. There was no kind of like energy loss throughout the process of creating the energy like the internal combustion engine. And but then thousands of people saying, "Oh, we want one." So it's like, dude, there's only two of us. And so they got a workforce together, but the supply never met the demand. So, of course, the fickle, childish brains of the human race were like, oh, well, this is boring. And then what happened was Elon Musk turned up, and he's like, hello, I'm a spoiled child from South America with millions of dollars, and you want help as long as I can play with your toys. Okay, so he gave him money. And then he said, okay, I'm playing with your toys. I'm getting bored of that. I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy everyone looks at saying, this is my company. Can I do that? And I give you more money. Okay. And then it was, look at me. I'm the CEO now. And this is all my idea. And the other two guys, no, you're just giving us money. You've absolutely no idea how to make an electric car. And you just, okay, whatever, I've just bought you out. Bye-bye. And so he kicked them to the curb. And so that's how he made Tesla Motors. He had absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever. He didn't invent the name. He didn't invent the concept. He probably doesn't even know who Nikola Tesla is. He just bought the company out and made himself look at me. And he did the same with SpaceX. He doesn't know how to build a rocket. That's why he hires people to do it for him. And so, as I say, and that's what it is. And I'm not political on that. It's just, to me, if I, say, hire someone to do a job for me, and from that, I manage to make a profit and it makes my life easier, I will give back to that person or people, because their view on life, their version of intellectuality, their version of intelligence and gumption has helped me create a better life for myself. So thank you so much. What can I do to repay you? And that's really how it should be. That makes so much sense, as opposed to be grateful you've got a job. And again, that's what, back to the whole thing. If you buy a house and you pay it off, that house isn't your house. You still have to pay tax. And so if you don't pay the tax, the government takes your house off you. So it's not even your house, and this is global. And it's like, no, that's not. I bought this thing. It's mine now. Oh, and when I got my first tax bill, I called up the council, and the lady, I think she was having a bad day or something. She said, "Oh, you bought the house. You didn't buy the land it's on." And it kind of pulls a rug from underneath you, because this isn't mine. Although I haven't got a landlord and blah blah blah, I've still got And again, it's just enough that you have to pay to where it's not easy. It's not like paying your phone bill at the end of the month. It's in thousands. And so it's not like, I can just, pay them off. You have to save it up. And so it's not like saving up to buy something new, or something you want. It's saving to stop them taking your effing house off you. And, and then there's the electric and the gas and all that kind of stuff and blah, 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 blah. And the food you got to buy, blah, blah, blah. And it all belongs to these ungrateful motherfuckers. So I don't know where I was going with that. But that's what I want to do with my life. And that's why I'm not finished yet. I want to get back into being fit and healthy. And I want to give an alternative. I was chatting with somebody about this. And I said, we need to change stuff. And he said, yeah, but they call that revolution. I said, yeah. He said, but a revolution, by definition, is is a round event, whatever. So wherever you start, say you overthrow oppressive powers, by the time everything's put into place, the people that help to remove the oppressors become the oppressors. That's just the nature. Look at history. That's basically what's doing. Look at Oliver Cromwell, for instance. His idea was to get rid of the monarchy because the monarchy was England was very much like with the French with the let them eat cake lady, the Marie Antoinette, I think her name was, and the French were saying like, okay, we're hungry, we're eating dry moldy bread. That's all you're letting us have while you're living off chocolate. Let me eat cake. And from what I understand, again, I don't know if this is true because nothing's true anymore due to the internet. It wasn't actually cake. It was something like let them eat slightly luxurious food or something. I don't fucking know what it was. Excuse my French. But anyway, that kind of sparked off the French Revolution. It's a case like, okay, that's it. We're going to kick the people off top, and it's going to be, more of a people-owned country now. And the same thing happened with Oliver Cromwell. The nobles were like, living in mansions and blah, 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 blah. And then the people working were like, dude, that kid I had a few years ago, he's dead now. What, he died of malnutrition because we don't have... And look at those people. They're blah, blah, blah. And they're eating freaking fattened goose livers. And living the life of Riley. And where's our cut of the pie? And so Oliver Cromwell got his hoonies together, the Roundheads, because I think the Roundheads and Cavaliers. Cavaliers because Cavaliers were the kind of hyper-educated elite fops, as it were, related to the royals. And the Roundheads were called Roundheads because they wear like round helmets and that kind of stuff. They were farmers and that kind of stuff. So Oliver Cromwell got his Roundheads together, farmers and stuff, overthrew the government, and then from what I understand, the government said, "Hang on, what's that?" So no, you're going to kick us out and stuff, but now you've got to run an entire country. Do you know how to do that? No. Well, we have it. So how's about this? You're going to have the House of Commons, which is basically your government. We'll show you kind of how to set that up-ish, but again, it was a stand away situation, and they can run your government, and then we'll just give us a thing called the House of Lords, and so just so if you need a hand, you can come and knock on our door. So that's where that came from. But then back to what I was talking about, the revolution. A few years later, you're in exactly the same situation, but instead of a monarch being in power, you've got Oliver Cromwell and his cronies in power. And so that's what this wise person told me. He said, you don't need a revolution, you need an alternative. He said, look at a railroad track or a railway track. You've got two tracks running in the same direction, but each one's its own separate identity, and that's what you need. You need something. You in the minute we're living on a monorail. You're voting for the same people. Another wise person I came across talked about politics. He said, you got the right wing of politics and you got the left wing of politics. Says, yeah. He said, they're both wings to the same bird, right? Mind blown. Think about it, man. And it's true, they're all playing the same game. It doesn't matter who's in power. If their ideologies are so vastly apart from each other, you'd think if somebody was in power, I mean, I'm not talking about the present situation because the guy's a psychopath, but in the past, if you look through the past, nothing's really changed. Enough to whatever. It's like, I've got 4 years to do this, let's change everything. Nothing gets changed, it basically stays the same thing. The same people stay rich and in power, and the same people have to eke out an existence with just enough just to keep a roof over their head. Nothing's changed, so yeah. The right wing or left wing are two wings to the same bird. And it's the same thing with you have to work, because if you don't work, you can't pay your rent. If you can't pay your rent, you're homeless. If you can get your rent paid somehow, if you don't pay your electric, during the winter you're going to freeze to death. If you don't pay your water, then you're going to die of thirst. That kind of stuff. And it's all systemic prisons that have been created by those in power. And, it's like, I don't know if it's in this state, but I've heard a lot where you can't store rainwater. So you can't put a bucket out there and catch rain that falls from the sky. And excuses all the way. And really what it is because if you catch your own rainwater and filter it, you don't have to pay your water bill. If you don't pay your water bill, that's money that's not going to the water business. It's crazy, it really is. And, and there's places where, dude, you got lawns. It's grass. And I can imagine if you grow it and you do something with it. No, you grow it, and then when it gets above like an inch or something, you cut it down. There's absolutely no purpose other than aesthetics for a lawn. But if you start putting some potatoes, some tomatoes and that kind of stuff, you're going to get a ticket from the council. Oh, this isn't aesthetic enough. You haven't grown your own food. Go to the supermarket. And on top of that, people have been brainwashed. What happens is cyclically things happen. And one year, my entire back lawn was covered in dandelions. So I went out there and cut off a bunch of the leaves and made a tea out of it. And dried it all out, crushed it all up, blah, blah, blah. And I was at work, and I was having some dandelion tea. And they're like, oh, where did you buy that? I said, I didn't. I got it from the dandelions growing in my garden. Ew! That's where dogs pee and cats poo and rats and vermin and it's like, yeah, you know that I kind of heated them up, basically sterilized them and then dried them out. So basically, no. And they just hit on me. If it's not in a shiny package, going through some multi-billion-dollar corporation, people won't touch it. And it's like that Jamie Oliver cook guy. He did that thing where he made chicken tenders, chicken nuggets, whatever you call it. And so he took all the offal and the bones and the muscle tissue and all that crap, all the stuff people don't want to touch. And with these little infant school kids, and they're like, ew, that's nasty. And or junior school kids or whatever. And how old are they? 4, 5, 6? I don't bloody know. They were kids. They were small enough kids to be impressionable. And they said, do you want to eat this? No, it's disgusting. And so he said, okay, we'll put it in a big blender and then add chemicals to it. And then he made this mush. He said, what do you think this? Oh, that's disgusting. And then he didn't hide any of it. He showed. He said, okay, then we'll make little shapes out of it. Would you eat? No, it's disgusting. And they covered it in breadcrumbs. Would you eat it? No, it's disgusting. And then he deep fried it and said, oh, yeah, yum. And that's even if they're shown how nasty this crap is, because they've been brainwashed through television and computers and phones and stuff like that with all this advertising, how wonderful life can be if you eat their junk. All you do is see the junk and suddenly you forget all the crap that it's made out of because you've been brainwashed into through the commercials. This is wonderful manna from heaven bollocks. So what I want to do is add a mantra that has been going through my head since I was a teenager, and I'm not an egotist or anything, and that's one thing maybe that's stopping me, because I'm going to climb Mount Everest because I can or I want to, and it's I'm here for a reason. Should be dead a million times over for stuff that's happened through my life, but I'm still here, so I'm here for a reason. Again, I've had sepsis twice, and both times you're like, you could have died, I don't know. And again, the first time I went through the hospital, were they having a joke at me, or were they actually trying to kill me? Again, when my sister called, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know this guy with an accent that's totally from a different country that came in freaking butt-ass naked. We get those all the time. And because basically when I couldn't move, I was like, I had no energy whatsoever, and so the ambulance people had to break my door down, and then I didn't have any clothes on, so they basically put me in a tarp and roll me downstairs and threw me back of an ambulance. So there's me. It's like, we got a new patient. Oh my God, he's got no clothes on. Like, look at me. And, so they had absolutely no record until she threatened to call the police. And all of a sudden, oh, hang on, that guy, of course. And it's weird. And the first time I had sepsis, it took him months, like 6 months to get back home again. And most of it, I was in some kind of delirium. And then the next time, about a year later, I was in and out in 5 days. Something weird happened. Anyway, so that what I'm saying is like, so shit's still happening. I should be dead now, but I'm still alive, and partially. And so the mantra is, I want to save the world from the human race, save the human race from the human race, and make 397 million. And I added, not necessarily financially, because this country is obsessed with money. So if you say 397 million, what do you mean, dollars? Like, no. Okay, drachma? No. Pund? No. 370 million. I don't know what. I know it's a number I want to make, 397 million. It might be sperm cells. That's disgusting, but whatever. But yeah, so that's my mantra. It's been there since I was a kid. And again, and I keep coming across fantastic people. And it's like I'm not religious or anything like that, but I think sometimes you come across angels. And it's like when I was working in a restaurant waiting tables, and these two guys came in, and I could do nothing right. And I was getting so upset because I couldn't do my job. And I'm proud that when I do something, I want to do the best of my capability. And again, it was waiting tables. Whatever, dude. But the dishwasher pulled me over and he said, "What are you doing?" And I, told him, I'm trying to do my job and I can't do it right. And he chuckled slightly. And as most wizened people do, they'll, big person standing in the shadows. They're always there, but they're always quiet, but not in an menacing way. And then once in a while, they'll pull you over in a soft voice that reminds you of rolling fields of Idaho. They go, "So, what are you doing?" "I'm trying to do my job." "Or what is your job?" "I'm trying to wait tables. I just can't do it." And they always do that little laugh. I don't know if he did it or not, but they always show it in the movies. And he said to me something. He said, "You shouldn't get frustrated. You shouldn't get upset. You're doing the best you can, yeah? Yeah." It's like, these people actually do this on purpose. I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, as an example, there may be like middle management. And so they've got the customers yelling at them. They've got the staff yelling at them. You've got the bosses yelling at them. And all they can do is say yes sir, no sir, feedbacks also to all of these people. And so what they need to do is they need to they get bitter, and they need to find some way to take it out on people. And so they find people that are in a customer service environment, like wait staff, who can't turn around and tell them they're being a douche, or to get written up and fired and blah. And so they're doing it on purpose. And they probably, when they're driving over here, they probably said, "So, what can we do to make the waitress cry?" And and he said, "Don't get frustrated by it. Feel sorry for them." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, have you seen these people before?" I said, "No." He said, "Will you see them again?" I said, "I don't know, probably not." He said, "Exactly. After they've finished eating here, they're gone. You'll never see them again in your entire life. They have to wonder for the rest of their lives why everybody hates them." Mind blown. And it instantaneously, my entire demeanor changed. I was no longer upset. I was no longer frustrated. It's like a weight had been lifted, and I suddenly felt so much love and compassion and sorrow for these two guys. And so I went up with the iced tea for one of the guys. "Where's my iced tea?" And I was like, "Oh man," because I'd asked him if he wanted a drink, and he totally ignored me. And said, "I'm sorry, I'll go and get you an iced tea." So I came back with an iced tea. He's like, I dropped my straw. I was like, "Oh wow." I was like, "I'm so sorry you dropped your straw, man. I'll go and get you another one." And they noticed my demeanour change as well. And I dropped my fork on the floor. My fork's got dirty, and "Oh, I'm so sorry." And so, I went through the whole thing. And I was close to tears before they left. And, I mean, not really, but, kind of felt more kind of sad for him. And I was like, oh, man, thank you so much. You please have a really good life. I was sincere. I was hoping that, and they didn't know what was going on. They were confused. They were kind of like hanging caught off guard and stuff. And it's like, because I'm never going to see these guys again, but they're going to wonder why everyone hates them for the rest of their lives. What a curse. And where's it going with that? I don't remember. But yeah, again, I come across angels once in a while. Like when I was going to New Mexico, I'd quit restaurants because it wasn't stable enough. And then I got into an office work, which was terrible because you sat at a desk for 8 to 12 hours a day and you can't move. And it's really bad for you. It's even studies say that office work actually is one of the leading reasons for early death. And so when I was going to New Mexico, there was this guy from a foreign country somewhere, and we're chatting and blah. And people just come up to me and have a conversation. I don't know what it is, and I don't care. And it's nice. And he showed me pictures of his grandkids, and he said, I'm married. I said, no. And he looked a little bit sad. Somebody my age, I hadn't got married and kids, but, that was nice of him. And then we had the same flight change. I forgot what they call it, when you get off one plane at an airport to get to another plane. And then he was walking at a rate that I would be able to keep up with when I was waiting tables. But I couldn't. I was like getting out of breath. He said, come on. He said, like, don't ever stop walking. Keep walking. And he didn't mean to the plane. He said generally. And he said, come on. Don't be like the others. And he meant like the Americans. And did nothing against him personally. But I think like the office workers, the sedentary lifestyle people. And that clicked. It's like, wow, you're right. And I didn't realise it took the being pulled out of the whole, I don't even know if it's true anymore because everything's a lie nowadays. The whole story where if you put a frog in a bowl of water, it'll stay there. If you slowly turn the heat up, it'll stay there because it'll get used to it until it boils itself to death. Doesn't make sense, but it's an adage or analogy or whatever. And if you have the water hot straight off and then throw the frog in, it'll hop out. And so that's meant as a metaphor for if you want to change a group or a society, as it were, just little tweaks. You don't turn that as an example, bad example. Is it a bad example? No. If you look at World War II, Germany turned everything up to 11, and then the rest of the world turned around and said, hang on, you want to do what? Take over the world? Nah. And then, but certain countries since then have just done little tweaks, and little tweaks, and then slowly but surely they've taken over the world. And because, if you do a little tweak, you hang on, oh, okay, it's normal now. Hang on, oh, it's normal now. And so you do little tweaks, that's how you do it. You always look at the long picture. That's what they do anyway. Where was that going? God almighty, I don't know. Oh yeah, with the guy in the airport. And it wasn't until I pulled myself out of the environment of going to work every day and slowly getting weaker by sitting behind a desk, as opposed to walking around all over the place, to be put in the situation where I'd done it before, catching a different flight in an airport, not being able to catch up with the guy that was older than I was, who was just walking at a slightly fast but steady pace that I couldn't keep up with. That it clicked like, wow, dude, this isn't healthy. So I need to get out of the office environment. I want to anyway. And then irony, and let's just say irony for everything. It's like, I unironically dated this person. How did you date them? Yeah. So how is that in any way related to irony? Did you want to date them? Was it something where you're like, well, I don't want to date this person because they're nothing like me whatsoever, but I'm going to do it anyway just so I can say it's ironic? Okay, what was it with the airport and the guy and the walk-in and the the thingy where sardonically maybe I don't know what the word is anymore. I'm now laid in bed. It's 9 and something in the day, 9:04 in the morning. I've been up since 6, and trying to get myself out of bed because it hurts so much is what they call it, massively painful. And so although I want to do it, it's I also don't want to be in pain anymore. My inner child was crying. Going, I don't want to get it because if I do, it's going to hurt. But the thing is, if I don't do it, I'm going to be living in this crap hole. And then the whole thing about saving the world from the human race from the human race, and making 397 million, as well as creating a alternative. And it's not an egotist thing. To me, it's necessary because we have nowhere else to go. Let's move to Mars. You can't breathe on Mars. There's no food or anything on Mars. You're going to be dead if you're not living in a capsule or wearing a spacesuit. You're dead. There's no two ways about it. This is the only place we can live, and there's so much diversity. This story came up to me. It's actually I was at a friend's house in Jamaica, Queens, and they were working, and I was at home. I was getting prepared to move to Michigan. And so they had a snapping turtle or a terrapin, and I was, I've always been kind of slightly out there as far as like thinking outside the box and whatever, and just whatever. And I never knew to take drugs to be like this. Anyway, so I'm just like looking at the turtle, and that's the thing is I see every living thing as its own entity. They all have the same amount of soul because the soul is weightless, if you want to call it that way. Instinct, energy, life, chi, whatever you want to call it. They're just in a different shape. So, and the human race isn't the top of the ladder because the human race is the thing that's they have put themselves in a box and then stuck a hose pipe in it and then filling the whole thing with exhaust smoke and say, oh, I wonder what we can do to stop us from dying. And everything else is living. But anyway, so the story that he told me that I got from it, because and it looked at me. I looked at it, and we looked at each other's eyes, and I just sat and think me something, tell me something, and it was like this. It was many pictures, but you got all these planets, and we've got all different atmospheres, all different whatevers, and all different creatures living in them. Plants, trees, fish, clouds, whatever, all these different existing things. And they all climbed the ladder, became egotistical, and started fighting each other and pillaging without any thought of whatever, until it got to a point of like, they all kind of came to a thing is like, we've got nowhere else to go, and we're basically we destroyed what we're on. What can we do? And then they found Earth, and Earth was so diverse that it could cater to basically everyone with a little bit of tweaking. And so you could have, animals that live in a desert environment, animals that live in, plants and the rest of them that live in a ocean environment, underwater with tons of pressure, in the sky, in the mountains where the oxygen's thin, all these different diversities and stuff. So they all got together and said, okay, so what are we doing wrong? We're kind of fighting each other and being egotistical, okay. So what do we do? Well, we're going to be peaceful. We're just going to, fathom out an existence, okay. So, and a couple other rules. Well, I eat meat of other animals, okay. Then you could eat meat of other animals, but just eat just kill what you can eat. Don't go ahead and just cull an entire species just because you can, and then eat an eyeball and then have the rest rot. And then they came with the things like, well, I'm going to take a poop. Well, I'm a beetle, and there's still nutrition in this poop. So what happens if I roll that into a ball and then have my babies eat it? Oh, go for it, Well, I'm a little kind of microscopic thing, and what is it? I kind of make things go moldy Oh, okay, then dead things we can make those go mouldy, and then that we can rot that, and then put it back into the soil, and there. So they came out with all this fantasticness and stuff, and so basically the smaller, the kind of the more definitive big picture of everything, smaller definition. What the hell? I can't talk. Is that what and everything exists with everything else, and checks and balances. So, for instance, if you have a reef with a bunch of sea urchins coming in and eating all the reef, then you'd have something like squids coming in. I don't know if this works. Will come in and they'll see the sea urchins, and they'll see this huge mass of sea urchins. So the squids will start, hey, buffet! So they'll come and eat all the sea urchins, which will allow the reef to come back, and well, get rid of the sea urchins, but not kill them all. You know what I'm talking? So there's all these checks and balances that work out. And then somehow the human race came along and went like, oh, this is our playground. We're the best. You're not the best. The human race is the only thing that needs machines to do stuff. Birds fly. Aeroplanes fly. Humans don't. Fish swim underwater and can stay underwater forever. Human beings don't. They need scuba equipment. So, although you may think they're more intelligent for inventing the machines, what happens if all the rest of the creatures on the planet already surpassed all this in technologically, but then found out that every invention they made took them a step away from being in connection with their own planet, which then made them forget how dependent they are on the planet to exist. So then they, and one step closer to complete annihilation of the planet they're living on, so they no longer can survive there. So what happens if it's not that these creatures can't make machines, it's just they don't want to. And if you look, get yourself a crow or a raven, they can use a stick as a tool. Various apes, they'll use stones to crack things open, as an example. You have birds that do the same thing. You have birds that they'll get a nut or something like that, and then they'll pick up a stone, fly really, really high, and then drop the stone onto the nut to crack it. So they're tools. So yeah, they can use tools. It's just they use the tools that are already available. And there's like I'm trying to think what else is there. But yeah, you'll see it. And octopuses can open jars and stuff and blah. So it's not as if they can't use it. It's just they choose not to, because they'd rather treat life as an adventure, as it were, and see how can I personally adapt to the situation and make it to the best of my capability without ruining it for everyone else as well. And everything apart from the human race is on that track. And even the human race before that, with the American Indians, if you want to call them that, indigenous people, the Aborigines of Australia, the Tasmanians. Tasmania is a small island off the coast of Australia, and from what I learned or heard, is that they were so close to, say, Neanderthal, as it were, that and this was a kind of during the time of Darwin, if I remember rightly, the origin of the species, that when the Europeans, there's another island over there, they went over there, and because they've been so isolated, they evolved in a different way, and because they're so close to apes, as it were, and they were like, oh, this is proof of what Darwin, kill them all. And so they killed them all. And they did things like they would bury these poor people up to their neck and then play polo and use the heads as the polo balls. Yeah, what kind of psychopath? And this was normal. And but as I say, the Australian Aborigines, they see the world as a living creature. The American Indians, the same thing. All these Aboriginal people. So, and then when the Europeans came across, they said, "Nope, you're wrong." And then Africans the same thing and stuff. And it's like, for instance, if you've got a headache, you take an aspirin. Aspirin is some substance from the bark of a willow tree. It's not a chemical. It's something from a living being. And it's like all these Aboriginals, and I'm using that because from what I understand, Aboriginal means the original human-type creature that lived in that environment before the Europeans came over. Indigenous, I think that's a modern word, isn't it? Uses all this stuff. They'll say, okay, you've got this wrong with you, take this berry. You've got this wrong, you rub the salve on your wound, blah, 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 blah. But, modern society is all about the big corporations owning everything, so they can have everything and live the life of Riley without any recompense, and then just dump it all out on the mass populace. And, so that's what it's about. And we have to take a step back. I've got nothing against technology. I've got nothing against advancement. But as the old Jurassic Park thing, just because you can do it, does it mean you should? And that's the whole thing. And it's like, let's stop. Let's take a step back and look what we have. There are lots of technological breakthroughs that are being... This is good, move on to the next one. This is good, move to the next one. People are too... what's the word? So that's what I think is not occupied about what the next thing is, to actually study more of what the previous thing did or does. You know what I mean? And that's what you do. You take a step back, and there's stuff out there. Like there's companies that are making Lego style huge bricks out of hemp to build houses with, and they stack together like Lego. And so they're, I think, the fire retardant and they have high insulation capabilities. And because, just like Lego, your imagination is basically the thingy of it. So, it's everyone to build bricks and stuff. Because they have rods that go into holes, that gives more support than a brick and mortar does. So longevity, blah. They have this company who makes, oh yeah, bastard, excuse my French, who is using a giant 3D printer and pumping concrete out to make custom houses and stuff. So the technology is there and it's going along, but what it is you got a schoolyard on break, and you got the bullies who are bullying everyone, like the big corporations and stuff like that, without any thought of anything else apart their own ego and controlling and stuff. This is mine. Why? Because I say it is. But there's no principal, there's no teacher keeping an eye on him to grab him by the ear roll and take him off to the headmaster. That's what's needed. And the thing is, it needs to be done fast because it's getting worse by the day. And I'm not a harbinger of doom or anything like that. It's just the reality of the stuff. I want to have children. The one reason I haven't had children now is because I'm physically incapable of doing so, because I don't have a womb. Where's the fetus going to gesticulate? And no, it's because I don't want to bring a child up in a world that's effed, that they have no future. It's going to be dystopian. Nah. And so I want to, and it's like I don't want to be, look at me, I'm Jesus, I'm going to save the world. And it's nothing to do with that. It's, I just have a message, and I want to spread the message to as many people as possible. And everyone I've talked to says the same thing. Oh, that's a really good idea. When you get it going, talk to me about it. So I've got to, and again, I'm nothing special. I'm a pleb. But the more that I'm living, the more really it's whatever is out there, the higher power wants me to do something about it. Give an example of what can be done and how kind of easy it is with what technology we have at the moment. And it's like the whole thing with a camera. Everyone's pushing for 4K, 5K, 20K, that kind of stuff. And so they're ignoring the stuff in the back. And there's some people who are now grabbing onto Polaroid cameras and video cameras and that kind of stuff, and playing around with that just as some kind of gimmick, which is fantastic. Go for it. Well, where was I going with that? Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Is like instead of what the next thing is, see what fantastic it is. What about taking a step back? I don't know what I just went on somewhere different, blah. But yeah, so I and again, it's not egotist. I hate myself. I'm not an egotist, and anytime I do anything that's not just eking out an existence, I think I'm being some kind of egotist. But it's nothing to do with that, and it's not that I want to look at me at all. And sometimes I wish I did have that, because I'd have more gumption, I'd have more drive. But the more is, I've got to lead by example. I've got to build a village, a self-sustaining village. That's an example of how the world can be without having to just, clear the entire playing field and start again from scratch, using the lessons learned from the technology we're having, and we could have, in a way that's beneficial to the human race, but also the rest of society, as in everything else that's alive, the planet that we live in, that we have nowhere else to go. And because it's there and it's capable, but a lot of people, they're scared because in case of if they push it a little bit too far, they'll fall and lose everything because there's no safety net. And that's the way modern society is made. There's no safety net. That's why homeless people are necessary. Because if you push too far, you're going to get the carpet pulled out from underneath you, and you're walking through. I've got this fantastic idea, but homeless person. But if I'm not careful, I could end up like them, and without any hope and smelling like rotten, begging change and eking out existence, sleeping on a bench and under a cardboard box and stuff like that. So it's a reminder of what people could be. It's a fear thing. And so an example needs to be made of a fully functioning town or village that is self-sustaining, not to be a finger up to the society, but to be an example of, hey, look, and I'm just some dude with a hammer and a screwdriver. What about, let's do this and offer people an alternative. But, and it takes money, and I hate money, and it's not as a concept, but as what it does. Because if you look at those that have more money, they're selfish. It's like you see these people, let's say musicians and actors and whatever, nothing against them personally, but look what they've done. They start off with nothing, and then now they're multi-billionaires. What have they done with the money? Have they helped the community? Sometimes, but not always. They've bought huge mansions with 50 or 60 bedrooms, and there's 2 of them. And then they have huge tracts of land. Did they use that to grow food or anything? No, they just make huge lawns, maybe put in a golf course or a tennis court, and screw everyone else. Do they help people? Hey, I've got a 50-bedroom house. Do you want to come in and crash here for a bit? Nope. I've got a 50. I'm going to buy another one, and that's what it is. Money makes people selfish, seemingly, because if you look again at those, look at the people with more money and see what they actually do and what they see as normal, and then look at the people with no money and see what they do and see what they see as normal. People with no money will give you the shirt off the back. People with multi-billions of dollars will close the door in your face. I'm just saying that. So I hate money as a concept, but the way, again, what they've done is a little trickle at a time. They made it normal to live in a society where money is necessary. If you don't have money, you're completely and utterly screwed. And so I need money. And so what I've got to do is I've got to learn to make money. But then top of that, one thing I've got is then I can't just go out and make stuff and sell stuff, because then I've got to do tax. and all that kind of stuff. And it isn't just a case of like, all right, you owe us tax. How much? How much did you make? How much did you spend? Okay, how much did you sell it for? So how much did you profit? We'll take smat of your profit, percentage of your profit. Okay, good sir. No, it's take the line of the first line with the second line into paragraph 5, unless of course the word after is not included in the 15 syllables of the first thing you were thinking about. Then take the blueprint from the said gnunge, move that to paragraph 5, line 2, by the dotted line that's next to the one with the star. Unless, of course, it's Tuesday. Then you've got to take everything from page 5, transfer that backwards, but in order, on page 26. And I've talked to people when I did my taxes one year with a company. The guy used to work for the IRS, and he quit because they make it more and more difficult because they know they can make it easy, but if they make it easy, then more people will take the lunge. They'll take the what's that phrase about taking a step into the unknown? Whatever it is, it's something about. Well, I don't care. Whatever. And actually, trying to advance life, because if people, that's, for instance, when you work in a job, they don't pay you enough to get on. They pay you enough just to exist. If they pay you enough to get on, then you'd advance, and then you'd no longer need that job, And so it's the same with society as general. If tax was easy, then more people would be running their own businesses, and then they would be less dependent upon society as it stands, which would be a threat to the status quo and stuff. Yeah. So again, to make it simplistic, I'm going to save the world from the human race, save the human race from the human race, and make 397 million not necessarily financial. I want to build my village. And I know exactly, I don't know how to do it, but I know exactly what it is. I can see the finished village now. And also got to do the stations, which is another thing. And I don't want to go into detail about that because, at the time, because I don't mind if other people grab hold of my ideas and use it, but use it for the purpose behind. I've got the foundation. The foundation is offering an alternative to modern society that's beneficial to the world we're living on, because it's the only place we're living in, and make it a better place for everyone, as opposed to. But what happened is, as you've seen, like with YouTube used to be a fantastic community when it was free, and and it was self-policing. If somebody put some videos in that were tasteless and nasty, they get badgered out, and then. Nowadays, it's now until they made it monetary, suddenly all these rules and regulations came, and even they didn't make sense. And I've seen videos where people have had the channel shut down because of copyright strikes on their own material. Stuff that they'd made themselves, not sampled or stuff they'd made themselves from scratch. They got copyright struck and the channel shut down. How ridiculous is that? And then you've got, again, because it's all about money now, you've got all these heartless, nasty, horrible people that have taken something that was beautiful, like YouTube when it first started, and turned it into something crap. And filled it with ads and stuff. And it's like, I'm not monetized or anything like that. I don't have enough videos. I don't have enough watch time. And again, this is just for me. It's just for... because when I put stuff on the computer, if I physically can't see it, it gets lost. So it's like it goes in a folder called stuff, more stuff, that. So I kind of lose track of where everything's gone. Whereas YouTube to me is... it self-organizes. So what I can do is I can go back to it. Oh yeah, I remember that. And then when I'm playing my chess, it's because I used to be able to play chess. Never excellent, but I used to be able to look before I made a move, visualize where it was going and with the opponents and moves and that kind of stuff. And that. Now I'm finding I can't do it. I can maybe one or two moves in advance, and I keep making stupid mistakes. And so that's why I'm playing my chess, one, to try and get better to where I was, but also so I can watch your back to hopefully see where I went wrong and how I did it, and videoing me playing guitar so I can watch you back and also learn from it. And that's basically what I'm doing all this for. And so I'm talking now. I wouldn't mind people watching this if they can get something out of it, if they can get some kind of inspiration, if they feel lonely and they don't have any direction, they're confused and that kind of stuff. If something I've said lights a spark to help them get back on track or whatever like that, yeah. But I'm not any counsellor or guru or anything like that. I'm just some guy that's recording stuff, so I've got it. And again, trying to get back to where I was. All the stumbling and lack of conversation. Now I can't talk very well. It's all new. It's all after the hospital thing. And it was like a switch being flicked. None of this was progressive. I have no history of any of this stuff since being a child. It was, before I went to hospital, I was one person. Whatever they did to me in hospital, when I came out, I was a completely different person with all these different things. Absolute pain all of the time. Arthritic pain that I didn't have before. Mind fogness, the inability to speak sometimes. And it's not all the time. I can speak forever without anything, problems, and then suddenly I can't talk. It's not as if it's like some kind of ongoing speech impediment. It decided to hang on. Let's kind of make it so you can't speak. Then forgetting stuff when I'm actually talking about it, and forgetting them actually talking, looking out the school window as my voice as the teacher continues to talk, and then coming back, hang on, and all that other stuff. None of this is me, and I need to get over it, but everything has a reason. So the reason I'm in this situation, I'm thinking, is to give me a chance to rebuild myself, reset myself into who I am as a person, to hopefully help the alternative choice globally. And it's not just for Western culture. I don't want to make I want to do it for the entire world. There's people in like Africa and India and all these other places and stuff like that are starving to death and disease ridden and stuff. And then what? Oh, if you give us $1 a day, we can have bollocks. You give $1 a day, and 75 cents of that is going to your back pocket, and the other 25 cents are going through lawyers to make sure that as little of that is going into charity, but enough to where you can actually claim you're being a charity. It's like when you go in the supermarkets and stuff, they go like, do you want to round that up for kids with balloons? It's like, what do you mean? Well, these kids don't have balloons, and we'll buy them balloons because it's a disorder. I say, no, I give stuff to individuals, and it's not an ego trip thing. I've got to get off that, because it's not an ego trip thing. Why do I keep making it sound as if it is an ego trip thing? Because people nowadays, usually, when you see these YouTube videos of like, I'm walking down the street and I see a homeless guy, so I give him my coat and $100. Did you get that? We'll do that again. Give me the $100 back again. Next time, cry more. Just so they can get views and more money. That's normal. I was homeless when I was in England for a bit, and I was homeless when I was in New York. And so I saw the culture, and it is a culture, and I see homeless people as human beings. There's one time when I wasn't homeless. I was just walking down the street in Manhattan, and there was this guy sat on a step, and he goes like, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm doing great." And yeah, sit down, have a chat, and sat down and chat. Homeless guy. He gave me some of his booze. I had a couple, a drink from that. Ooh, nasty. He offered charity. I took it. I didn't, I wasn't like, oh God, Jones, give me some of your booze. It was like, taking a bottle of wine to somebody who invites you out for dinner, and then you sharing a glass of wine each, and and chatting and blah. It was friendly. It was nice, and we chatted, and he told me all this stuff. He's like, he wasn't an ex-military veteran that had been broken by the war, and now when he got back, he was treated like a pariah or whatever the word is, and blah blah. He was just a guy that he just lost it. He'd had enough. His gumption. It's as if he'd been chipped at all his life, and eventually it was the final straw that broke the camel's back, and he was like, he just didn't have it anymore. And then when he became homeless, it's hard to exist because there's nowhere, there's no safety net, there's nowhere to collect your thoughts, there's nowhere to get your self back into whatever again. You're just stuck in a loop. But the guy was intelligent. He was really cool, you know. And but normal people look at, oh my god, they walk past him. But that's what I'm saying. It's like with the quilt and the clothes and stuff like that. I could take them to a charity shop, and no one will see them apart from people going to charity shops. That will get turned into money. The money will get processed into the CEO, I think it is Salvation Army, is a multi-billionaire. And I may be wrong, maybe multi-millionaire, but huge amounts, look it up. And, okay, if I run a company or something, or if you don't expect to be just, living off ohms, or what they call them, but what you doing with the multi-million, your basis is helping people who are needy. That multi-millions of dollars that you've got, instead of buying yourself another yacht, build yourself a village where homeless people can live and actually get out of being homeless. You know what I'm saying? And so I would rather give to an individual that needs a blanket than give that blanket to a shop that will sell it to somebody so they can get the money and process it to buy somebody a new yacht. It doesn't make any sense, but there you go. So that's what I do. And I don't know where I was going. I've got to get up. It's 10 o'clock now. 9:35. Oh, I'm going to have a cup of tea, but have I got water in the kettle? Yeah, but I'm not hurting as much as I did when I woke up. And I think talking has taken my mind off it, and which is a good thing. But I do need to do stuff. And again, I've got to keep being motivated because, as I said, when I was going to the gym, I was up to, I think it's 20 pounds, 40 pounds in weights, as well as a 25 pound bar for bench pressing. Now I'm back to 20 pounds, and I was doing 6 sets of like 30. Now I'm doing like 4 sets of 12 or something stupid. I could do the cardio bikey thing for like about half an hour without even batting an eyelid, and now I'm doing 10 minutes and getting exhausted. So it's true. I've got to push and keep pushing, and it's getting into terms, keeping the terms, getting into touch with the pain. And some people say that it goes away after a while, but it hasn't. The chronic pain syndrome is still there. It's like tinnitus, which I used to think was titanus when I was younger, which made people laugh. I've got titanus. What? There's ringing in my ears. You got titanus, yeah. But tinnitus, anyway. So I used to think detritus. Detritus? I used to think it was actually detritus, and I thought that was a slur about Detroit. And so what? What's this Detroit? Oh, it's like rubbish. You see, call me Detroit. I know it went through a bunch of riots in the 60s that it never really recovered from, but dude, no need to make a nasty word about it. But anyway, beside the point. Okay, so while I've still got it tonight, it's ear ringing pain. There we go, chronic pain syndrome. Hopefully it'll go away, but again, it's been a year, maybe 2 years now, and it's still there. And the level hasn't changed. It hasn't got any worse. It hasn't got any better. It fluctuates. It's from if you're doing like a 0 to 10, it kind of hangs around a 5, maybe 6 all the time. And sometimes, like I'm talking now, it's down to about a 4 now because I'm not concentrating on it, which is good. But it's still there. And like last night when I got home, I was up to about a 12. I was in absolute agony, even though I'd done the painkillers and stuff like that. I was in major pain. But so hopefully I could do something with that. But I've got to get used to it. And I've got to use it as a tool. I can't be like a crying little child and be like, oh, it hurts, and not do anything about it, because I've got to, if it is part of me now, I'm going to cry now because I hope it's not, but if it's part of me now, I've got to accept it as an eventuality and adapt myself around it and be the best I can be with that added element to who I am. I'm going to cry because I really hope that's not real because I don't want this to be for me forever. But that's what, until things change, that's what I've got to do. I've got to work with it. Don't accept it and roll over, but get strength from it. I'm going to cry now. I'm sorry. I hope it's not permanent. None of this is permanent. It's got to change. But it hasn't. Because, okay, there's nothing wrong with my brain. They've done MRIs and CAT scans. A friend of mine said that I might have some kind of PTSD from what they did, what they did to me in the hospital. And so I'm trying to get a appointment to see a psychotherapist and see if they can find some way of getting past this or whatever, blah 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 blah. And but again, it's like when I was homeless. It wasn't like woe's me, I'm homeless. It showed me a different. It opened my eyes to a different part of society that, if you haven't experienced, you don't know. It's a whole culture. Like, I was in Central Station and I was begging change. I taught myself to juggle when I was in England when I was homeless, because instead of just running up to somebody with a jingly cup saying give me change, I taught myself to juggle. And I got these balls, they're about the size of oranges, so it looks like I was juggling oranges, which attracts attention. And then when I drop the ball, actually, balls are thud balls. Juggling balls are thud balls because they're not made to bounce, they're made to thunk, so they don't roll away because gravity will win. Sorry, that pain. So I taught myself to juggle, so I wasn't just begging change. I was providing a thingy service or whatever, blah blah blah. And so I was doing that in Central Station, and then one of the homeless guys came up to me and says, he was like, excuse me, mate, but it wasn't excuse me, mate. He said, excuse me, pal. And I was like, yeah. He says, you can't do this here. And I was thinking, oh, God, what's good? I'm going to get... And he said, and I said, what? I'm sorry. And he said, no. It's this, where you are now belongs to so-and-so. And that's their little... That's where they do their stuff. You see over there... And he wasn't, like, pushing me off into the weeds next to the toilets or anything like that. I said, yeah, that's open for anyone. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I realised, and that's what I mean. Most people that haven't experienced homeless think that homeless people are a bunch of sexually deviant, psychopaths, drug addict, child murderers, but they're not. I mean, you get some people who are junkies, you get some people who are alcoholics, but you get some people who can't function in society. Or, like I was saying with the guy that I shared the drink with. And it was his drink. He didn't beg booze off me. This homeless guy, sat down and talked, and he pulled out a hip flask and said, and he wiped it off, you know what I mean? And goes like, oh, hey, do you want some? And, you know what I mean? It's like, the guy was a human being. And some people just fall off society. The rug gets pulled and they can't get up again. And the thing is, the way society is built, there isn't enough handrail for them to grab hold of, because they don't need support. They don't need to be pampered and stuff. They need to be given a ladder so they can climb out of the hole. They don't need an elevator to be built to gently, wheel them into a glorious elevator and then lift them up into society again. They need a ladder they can climb. That makes sense. But as I say with this thing in Central Station, it was like and it's like, and it's things like that. And because I became homeless, I see that now, and it's opened my mind. Well, every time I see a homeless person, I don't see a scum of the universe. I see a human being, And maybe the reason I'm going through what I'm going through now is to be able to see people in this thing. For instance, before, when I was younger, I'm walking down the street and this old person's walking at 3 steps a year, and I get frustrated and it's like, get out of my way. And like now I'm in a situation where every step hurts like a motorphoger. I'm finding I'm doing that walking thing, and it's given me more of an appreciation of people in that situation. And also the way that people are treating me. I've always been a helper. I've always helped other people. And I've always been independent like that. But now, like for instance, when the owner of the cafeteria helped me move my gear to the back of the car, I was like, you don't have to do that. He did it anyway. And I felt uncomfortable, but grateful. And it's... I'm going to cry, I really am. And I hope I'm making sense. And I hope something I've said... I hope somebody watches this. I know it's about 15 hours long now. And I hope something that I've said helps something. And I hope I'm doing something. And I hope that it helps somebody who has a dream that they think is untouchable, unachievable, helps them... gives something, some kind of maybe a rung to the ladder to help them get to the next level. A pat on the shoulder, a smile and a thank you, and go for it, genuinely, to help them in their journey. And hopefully all this will have it to where... an alternative is made that is that can help this planet not get destroyed by a bunch of selfish motorphogers, and to give people the chance that they need globally to take the next level, because we're at the next level. We need to be the next level, and that's the thing. We're at a teetering point at the moment between the next level of evolution or the next level of devolution, and there's no two ways about it. It's totally black or white. It's totally day and night. It is. We're either gonna. That's it. We're done. We're finished. Either that, or let's take a step back and sit down and have a chat about this, and actually do something about it. Not just talk about it, and and kick the tire about life, but actually. Say, roll the sleeves up and say, come on, let's do this. And again, I'm in Michigan, and it's not where I wanted to be. I want to be in New York or Boston, Philadelphia, maybe back to California, maybe Louisiana or something similar, something more like that. But I've been here for 27 effing years, and I did write a piece of music called Goom, which was Get Out of Michigan, and that was 10, 15, 20 years ago, something like that, and I'm still here, so I'm here for a reason, and I still want to get out, but I'm here for a reason, and it's made me see things. Like when I first came here, Detroit itself they called it the donut because no one was in the middle, everyone's on the outside. But what's happened is bit by bit they're trying to make Detroit a better place, but again they're kind of doing it wrong, because again they're doing the whole corporate facades. Let's put a Olive Garden here, let's put a Panera Bread here, and that kind of stuff. So what about the communities of people that still live in there? What about their corner shop? What about their cafeteria? What about their mom and pop's food stall? That kind of stuff. What about that kind of stuff? No, it's all corporate. So, although it's building up the infrastructure of Detroit, it's not doing it in the same way that it was before the riots, where you had avenues, high streets you walk up and down with mom and pop shops, little dinky independent companies. Where, oh wow, let's go in here. Okay, I know there's a bakery across the street, but these, they serve croissants here across the street. They do vanilla slices and that kind of stuff. And these sausages, they're very nice. And the sausage guy across the street, and they do different stuff. They do kibasas and that kind of stuff. There's a variety because people were passionate about what they did. It wasn't all about the bottom line, and that's what's missing. The soul is being removed. And that's what it is. The soul is being removed. Music. used to be full of soul, and I don't mean soul music. Soul music was good, but it was like, hey, wow! It's like something like Santana as an example. A lot of the music in Santana is based around one, maybe two chords, and the feeling behind I got from that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But and it's the same with the Doors. It was like 2 or 3 chords, and maybe with the middle 8 thrown in. But it was and they're like Pink Floyd, the same with their kind of music when they actually did concerts. It's you'd have a basic skeleton, you know what I mean? Let me think here. GCD, 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 CCC, GCD, as an example. And then that's the chord structure for the entire thing. And so, so the rhythm guitar's playing that. And I don't know if that sounds any good, but I know that G, C, and D go together somehow. And then the bassist comes together and it goes like, okay, so let's start off with the GCD, blah, 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 just playing those notes. And then, hang on, what happens if I do something that's harmonic with G, and, on the, the second bar or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so they start experimenting. And because it's the same chord structure, they know what comes next. And then the keyboard guy comes in and he's like, okay, I've got that. Let's play a bit of whatever and stuff. And then the lead guitarist comes in and they're like, okay, let's, trill around here and stuff. And it becomes a living being and it has soul. And that's what music used to be like. Not all of it. Some's just like, hey, baby, I saw you the other night. I really think you're nice. Do you want to go out with me? Songs. That's basically the basis of most songs. But nowadays, it's all, you just press a button on a computer, and it's just like a factory. Plump, plump, plump. It's the same crap, soulless crap, coming out and coming out and coming out and coming out just to make money. And that's what people are missing. People nowadays don't have tangibility. Imagine this if you wish. You're driving your car, or you're in a coffee shop and you hear a song on the radio. Oh, wow, I like that song. And then the DJ comes on. Okay, that was Crack Biscuits of My Love Desire by Floppy Chicken Embryos. Oh, wow. And then you take out your pen and piece of paper and write that down. And then you go on your, you're going to school, you're going to work, and so you go back to whatever you have to do. And then on your day off, on a Saturday, you get up and you're excited. And then you go down to the music shop and you say to the guy, it's like, that Floppy Chicken Embryo song? Oh, yeah. Do you have that? Oh, yeah, we have it. We have it in a single, so it's just a track with a B-side. I thought we got an album. Oh, can I listen to the album? So, yeah, it's over there under F for Flappy, what is it? Okay, it goes over there. Pull it out, and then you got an artist thing. You got a square, and you got pictures on the front. You got a picture on the back. You got details about the title of the song and how long it lasts, and you've got the company that's publishing it, the recording studio it's in. Then you say something. If it's a gatefold, you open it up and you got like a picture of the band, and and then you have a list of the instruments that they're playing, who they are, maybe a little brief story what's going on, and then you say they don't have a record player there so you can listen to it. You buy it, you're all excited because there's a track. That's the one you heard on the radio. You want to hear that. So you go home, clutching onto after you pay for the record, clutching onto your record, and you get there, and then you go up to your room, and then you switch on your amplifier, and then turn it onto phono because you're playing the radio. Turn the volume down a bit because you got a bit excited the last time you listened to the radio, and then you pull out the record from the sleeve, and it's got a little inner sleeve in there for protecting, and then you make sure as you're pulling out the record, you're touching the edge of the record, as in the perimeter, not the record itself, because you don't want to get fingerprints and dust on it. And then you pulling out this beautiful piece of vinyl, and then using only the edge of the record and the label to handle the record, gently putting it on the record player, and then using the lever to lift up the stylus arm, as opposed to using it manually, because you could clumsily drop it and maybe damage the stylus or scratch the record. You don't want to do that. So you lift this up. You got your amplifier on, you got it on phono, you got the volume nice and set because you don't annoy your parents downstairs, and then you pull the lever back and the arm gently goes down, and you hear the wonderful noise, as the that made me tingle. People don't get that anymore because it's whatever. And they hear as the stylus hits the record and of the crackling of the thingy. Even though it's a new record, you're still going to get a bit of that. And then and then you hear the song. It's like, oh, that's amazing. And then you listen to that, and then I wonder what other stuff they're doing. Then you hear the second song. Oh, that's really interesting too. Third one, that's not very good. And then you hear all that. And then once you've done that, it goes, and it goes in the center, and the a stylus lifts up and goes back to home again. And then, I've got another side. So you flip it over, and then you do the same thing on the side. And it's about half an hour, 15 minutes a side or something. And but it's an event. It's not just downloading it and putting it into your device and listening to it as you're jogging is something because you don't want to talk to people. The whole thing is a ritual, and that's what is missing in today's society is tangibility and ritualism, because there's no ritual anymore, and people have too much stuff. As I say, I've got a house full of stuff. Most of the stuff I have, I love. Each item has an event where I came across it and decided to put it in my possession. But I've got too much stuff now that I can't. When I first came to the country, I had a rucksack with all my worldly possessions. And although one was a towel, one was a toothbrush, one was a cassette tape, each one had so much value to me because it was in a small packet of everything I owned. Whereas now I've got a house full of stuff that's probably monetarily worth more. It is worth more than I had in my rucksack. But as far as actual value, self-value, I've forgotten the word is. So got a. And it's like, as I say, the cameras that I was talking about that went hype on, but the Canons that I've got, it's like... when they're in the bag and they're in the box in a room somewhere, absolutely nothing. By finding them and finding that I've got 3 of the same variety of camera that do the same job. Again, one is the not so, doesn't have as many bells and whistles. When got 3 of them. I'd even forgot I got 3 of them because I've got so much stuff in boxes. And so, just because you have a lot of stuff doesn't mean it's good, because you have too much stuff, you lose the passion, because it's like, well, that song, I've got a million others, and so that's that. And then what else? The tangibility and the ritualism, there isn't that anymore, and that I'm seeing young people nowadays, and they're like, the kid is grasping at air because there's nothing to grab hold of. They know there's something out there to grab hold of, but they don't know what it is. And little bits they're doing this, but it's getting pulled into a stupid, sarcastic fashion, or what's the word? Ironic fashion, which is actually sardonic, not ironic. If I'm remembering rightly. So, vinyl's better than CDs or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so suddenly you've got this, what they call it now, hipster thing. Oh, they all wear waistcoats and drink IPA out of bell jars, and they listen to records and stuff. So, and it's like, no. There's somebody who's found an old record player and put a record on, and you go, wow, this sounds really nice. It has a character to it. It's almost like a living organism. That's what they found, but it gets turned into a fashion thing because it's not the new gadget with bells and whistles on it and stuff, And that's when people grab and hold of Polaroid cameras, and it's like, oh god, it's another want to be artist taking part. No, they found something that gives them the instant gratification you get from a digital photography device, but it's real. It's actually capturing the light and burning an image on paper with chemicals, as opposed to translating it into a digital format, which looks really good, but there's something missing from it, and what's happening is the youth are starting to see tangibility, go through charity shops and saying, oh, it's an old video camera, it's a VHS video camera. Oh, let's get it for the ironic. And then they get it home and they find out, well, this is actually really good. You know, the amount of capabilities, because you think it's just something you wind up when you press play, but there was basic fade-ins and fade-outs. There was levels you could change. You could pause stuff. You could all this other stuff that you could do with cameras. And just because you can do the same thing digitally, it doesn't mean that that's a new thing. Because anytime you're trying to sell a product, you want to get it as, you know, bells and whistles as possible. So people go, oh, I want that, because you're in the market. So it's not just one person building a video camera. You had a huge amount of people building video cameras. So you wanted to get the best. So you want to get the best, more options. And so although it's a VHS and the quality is not the same, it doesn't mean it's worse. It just means it's different. You know, and that's what again, I'm feeling what's going to happen is the youth are going to stop running forward towards the next shiny object, and they're going to stand and they're going to turn around and they're going to have a look and see what there actually is there, and they're going to bring back the tangibility. Look at vinyl itself. There are companies out there, almost went out of complete business. There are companies out there that bought out cheap vinyl pressing machinery that weren't needed anymore, and now they're starting to do vinyl pressing, and vinyl pressing is a thing now. Well, you know, and so it's tangibility and blah blah blah. So that's what is really needed. I don't know where it's going with that, but I hope I make sense. And that's yeah, whatever. And so yeah, I've stopped. I don't know where it's going with that. But I just hope that somebody watches this and something clicks, and that it helps them with their little mantra that they have. Because I honestly think everyone has a mantra, but I also honestly think that from birth onwards, you kind of, no, you can't think of that, stupid. And you get that, and then, you know, then you go to school. No, that's stupid. You got to do it this way. Then you go through college, university. No, that's stupid. You got to do it this way. And then you get a job. No. You got to follow by my rules. So before you know it, you know, you've got 5 to 6 days of 8 to 12 hours a day dedicated to somebody else's ideology. Then you have to eat and go to sleep, and then you got like maybe 2 days where you can actually do your own stuff, and most of that time is decompressing for what you went through for the entire week, through whatever, blah blah blah, and again, experience is minimalized. It's like give yourself sit down and have a look what you do through an entire week, and how much time of that is spent traveling, how much time of that is spent doing stuff that's not merely existing. You know, getting up, going to school, going to work, mowing the lawn, cleaning your car, hanging out with your mates, going to the dance club, going to the pub, playing a game of pool, playing a game of darts, whatever. You know, something outside that. And instead of having a life where you keep traveling, as an example, I look at Jack Kerouac. Okay, he was a drunk, but still he. The thing is, if you read his stuff, all right, he was a drunk, but he wasn't a drunk that wrote. He was a writer that drank, and that's what happens. Fashion gets hold of stuff and turns a fantastic concept. Jack Kerouac is famous for being part of the beatnik movement, and when he came home, his mum was like, "We got all these letters and stuff. What that's about that book you wrote? All I was doing was writing what I was doing, hanging out with my friends." Yeah, but that was so different to what people are doing normally that it's being seen as a... Oh, hang on. There we go. So the credits are done. So it looks like I'm finished now. So I'll stop. I'll let the credits run. And there we go. So there we go. Finished. And I'll take that as a stop in my recording. So again, hopefully everything blah. Thank you so much and everything. And I hope that